Hello, if you are in the room with us. If you are watching, phenomenal. If you are not, my post goes against community guidelines. A link was added to your an ownership link. Huh. Hello, everybody, if you're here. I can't see you yet because I'm not looking at the stream. I am looking at my browser. Looks like we should be live. If we're not, I'm having serious issues. Community guidelines issues. Hello, everybody. If you're just joining us, welcome to the channel. We were having technical difficulties. If you guys are commenting on From the Bottom of the Rabbit Hole, I'm about to open up the page and see what I can see and see if I can see you guys talking, if you're there. We are up. We are running on From the Bottom of the Rabbit Hole officially. Held for review. What's going on, everybody? So this is a fucking shit show, huh? JM Bama, I see you. What's going on, bud? Wasn't talking, just jumped in. I am having a fucking shit show of an evening with this fucking stream, let me tell you. More fucking problems than I can shake a stick at. And it's only 10 o'clock. You have no volume. Never mind, I hear you. Steve is here, but he's not coming through either fucking channel. What the fuck? And I'm getting fucking community guideline strikes for my video earlier. Yo. Alright, now the YouTube comments are coming to me, but they're not going on the screen. What the fuck? So you know what I'm going to do? Chat box. Visual settings. Source. Refresh cache of current page. Maybe that worked. That could be my problem. Hey. I'm fucking trying to fix these problems, guys. This is live. We're here. This is real life. Hey, okay, YouTube is fucking back in business, being on the stream. We're running 100% again. Feel free to watch the video wherever you want. We had fucking 10 people watching, and I fucking blew it because the shit wasn't working, and everybody was saying that I was wicked quiet. Hey, JM Bama, thank you for sharing the stream. We're back in business for the night now. Your comments are showing. Oh my God, are they really? I'm sorry, I had to do that. We're live, brother. Right? Oh my God, that's one of my favorite clips of all time. We're gonna do this in the ring. We should just watch promos of Jumpin' Jeff Farmer. All right, here we go. Ready? Here we go.
Avoid speculation and the fake posts. They will try to taint the story, and they've done it successfully. There have been leaked emails from WikiLeaks, which conspiracy theories that people have about high-profile politicians and widespread corruption.
Here we go.
I mean, look, we know what Bill Clinton was doing in the Oval Office. So when you tell me that, when you tell me he's on the flight logs, and I got a witness putting him there, I'm gonna believe it. I am. And so what does that mean? I'll tell you what, man. Being very, very careful about my choice of language. There are conspiracy theories that people have about high-profile politicians. You have to absolutely avoid speculation and the fake posts. They will try to taint the story, and they've done it successfully. There have been leaked emails from WikiLeaks, which are very strange. All of a sudden, a bunch of people start spreading fake news about what these emails mean. And I tell you this definitively, fake news. I've watched people make it up, and then all of these people who believe this stuff about, Clinton and Epstein latch onto this fake planted trash and create the most insane and psychotic conspiracy theory. And that's the point. Red herrings. When information gets released that could lead you down the right path, of course the bad guys are going to throw, red meat. They're going to throw out red herrings to trick you into going off the path. That's why I'm being very, very careful with how I'm reporting this, and that's why you should too. That's why I'm probably going to have to blur a decent portion of this video, otherwise YouTube would actually take it down, and tell you this. These are witness statements, there are flight logs, there's corroborating evidence. Look, I don't see how you say Bill Clinton wasn't involved at this point. With the flight logs, with what he's already known to have done, and with now witness statements, as well as statements about Alan Dershowitz, I think that's it. I think, I don't know what else we can expect, what else we need to say. Bill Clinton is a very, very old man at this point. But that's what makes me question the previous administration and the administration before that. Hillary Clinton was involved, she was Secretary of State in the Obama administration. I am glad she did not get elected, to say the least. But let me just say this one last time. There's a lot more I could have talked about in this video, a lot more words I could have used. However, as I've stated before, this is very difficult to produce. I'm trying to be very, very careful. I hope you understand. And let this be a primer for you to actually do some digging yourself. If you have the wherewithal and the time to start looking up these documents and reading through thousands of pages of testimony like many of these people are doing. If I came out and read some of these pages, it's very likely this video would just be deleted, and then no one would hear anything about it. And if I came out and started speculating hard on what this stuff meant, then the video would absolutely be deleted. I'm very sure that I'm going to be sanctioned on YouTube for talking about it at all. So keep with that in mind. You can follow Mike Cernovich on Twitter and see what he's been talking about. These are stories coming up from Newsweek and Fox News. So there you have it. I'm sorry, man. It's really the best I can do. I'll have more segments coming up at 1 p.m., the next segment at 1 p.m. on this channel, and I will see you all then, assuming this video doesn't get me nuked.
Yo. Okay, are you fucking ready for this? I just got, from the first video we did tonight, boys and girls, all right, when I logged onto my Facebook, I got a community stand on. I got a community standards ban. Again, I accepted it, even though I should have fought it, but I kind of just wanted to get through to the next page and see what they're going to do. Read one previous message. Here we go. About this post from earlier today, which was the beginning of the stream. Boys and girls, they said specifically for spreading misinformation that could cause personal harm. Meaning that even just streaming that Anderson Cooper clip that had the small clip of her talking triggered an audio response, which is already in the Facebook system now, that if you play this audio clip and it gets detected by their same audio detector that detects songs and other things, they will remove your video. We played a lefty version, the most lefty, CNN lefty. And they took down my video for not even 30 seconds. You guys who were there, who saw the stream earlier when we watched the Anderson Cooper video, it was like a 15-second clip of Dr. Stella Immanuel talking on Anderson Cooper as he was discrediting her. This is real life. And they just told me that I got another issue and that if I have a third issue, that I will no longer, my account will be suspended. I don't know if they mean Brian Gregg. I don't know if they mean BG from the bottom of the rabbit hole. I don't know what they mean. But what I do know is that I'm hoping anyone on here would share the feed if I were to go live on Facebook. And that's also why it's even more important that you should go to From the Bottom of the Rabbit Hole, go to the YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell, because I may not be on Facebook much longer because of an Anderson Cooper lefty video. I can't believe this. If there are people that are dropping out now, if I'm receiving messages telling me my Facebook is already screwed, let me know. If you want to share this video, go ahead and share this video. We had a good amount of people. Then we had issues. Then we had bullshit. You know what I'm doing now, folks? We're live, brother. And you know who else is about to be fucking live? Alex to the motherfucking Jones, baby. So, strap your fucking boots in. We're going to find out what's going on today from the guy who... This might be it. This might be the end for me. But he's not getting pulled off like everyone... Ah, shit. Why'd I do that? He's not getting pulled off like the woman is because his audio can't be traced. This is his show from today. You know what I mean? Literally his show from today. I'm about to put on. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't like when they fuck with me. I don't like when they censor me. I don't like when they do things like this. And me overreacting is doing exactly what I'm doing. So it was Facebook and not YouTube that gave you a strike. Correct. YouTube just deleted my shit and said it's gone. They didn't tell me I have a strike. They didn't tell me it's held against my account. Facebook says if you violate this one more time, we are suspending your account. So I am no longer playing Dr. Stella Emanuel on this channel. I will continue to share the full unedited video in the comments of other videos that I do, including this stream on Facebook, simply on principle. Because again, if I'm not playing the video, I'm just providing a link to a website that's not going to be taken down. But yes, thank you, Ray, for coming back. Justin, they said suspend, not expel. Fuck Facebook. We go to YouTube. Exactly. That's why it's so important tonight for everybody to make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube page, that you go to FromTheBottomOfTheRabbitHole.com, go to the YouTube. I need to figure out how to do my own stream. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm looking into going on VLC and having
It's going to be a very difficult story to go through for several weeks.
Download a file, whether it's on your phone or whether it's on your computer, a file for VLC player, an M3U, and I'm looking into actually streaming myself. I have a very strong internet. I have a very strong computer. I think I would be able to do it myself. So if I get banned from everywhere, I'm still going to be live on FromTheBottomOfTheRabbitHole.com. I will make sure that I am fucking live on FromTheBottomOfTheRabbitHole.com. Period. Every single time. You will be able to get the fucking stream. You will even have a file saved that you could just turn on. I have VLC. I like it. So I'm looking at getting a fucking backup here. I'm not going to let them fucking completely shut me off. I will be able to fucking broadcast this shit. And right now, I'm going to broadcast something that's very important.
Because,
I promised
as we've told you years ago, he was a confidential informant to the FBI in Palm Beach, saying that the word is Epstein is engaged in criminal activity with underage girls. Everybody knows Donald Trump doesn't like little girls. Donald Trump likes intimidating bombshell females.
How's he sounding?
Type A females. I've never been, since I was an adult, intimidated by women. Not intimidated by men. But I have met Melania Trump just once, and I was intimidated. Talk about Wonder Woman. That's the type of powerful man that wants a powerful woman. And so I'm the same way. I mean, like Sir Mix-a-Lot says, I like a big, juicy, the whole 9 yards. I would never be attracted to a little girl because I'm empowered. I want a powerful woman. But these pedophiles, they want to suck the energy off these little girls, little boys. They want to be creepy. Weinstein's really gross. He likes to have underage girls clean, reportedly skin growths under his belly, and he has a vagina as well, reportedly.
That means you guys like the Echo.
Hermaphrodite. I mean, can you imagine all of this? He makes 15-year-old girls start throwing up when he's all stinking and gross. And they have to go pet on him and everything. I mean, it's all about humiliation. And I'm sorry to tell you all that,
if
folks.
If the Echo is bad, I'm sorry.
And it's the same thing with Jeffrey Epstein. He has sexually deformed genitals. You don't get in the globalist club unless you're really screwed up. They're fallen, they're diseased, they're inbred globalists. And that's why they don't like those of us that aren't. Why they want to make us twisted and fallen and ugly like them.
I hope he has information.
Get the British royalty all inbred as well. So it's all a bunch of inbred, hunchback demons who get all the power because they want the power. Because they don't have the power. So now it's all coming out. Oh, another little surprise way before October. And I really like how Trump's attacking now.
This is going to be me in like a year and a half.
Attack, launch everything now.
I'm probably going to be crazier.
And then launch even more.
I have long hair.
Because there's such a treasure trove. You could release bombshells every 30 seconds from now until the election and not burn down the deep state quick enough. And there is just so much. And so these New World Order types that think that they are going to burn down the country and destroy it and hand it over to the Chi-Coms, you got another thing coming. Because what did von Bismarck say? God loves children, drunks, and the United States of America. So count our lucky stars again. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet. By the way, there's so much huge news that I have trouble even dealing with it. I was shown secret documents yesterday by APD that I'm not allowed to show you on air about how this Saturday they're planning to take over the police station and burn it down. They're actually trafficking this at meetings run by the Democrats. I mean, hell, the city council says they're going to blow up the police station. Hell, that's public. And how they're going to have Overwatch snipers all over on top of parking garages that they're planning to shoot police and citizens if anyone stops Antifa taking control of major roads and setting up checkpoints. Police departments starting with an attack plan this Saturday night. Now, us exposing this may have them back down. And then the media will say, oh, fake news from Jones. But you've already seen the takeover of police departments and trying to take over federal buildings and the shootings and the bombings and all the deaths and the rest of it that were being told as peaceful demonstrations. But I have been shown by the APD, they have asked that we not actually show the documents themselves because you can tell what unit and groups they are. But the police think you have a right to know about this. They have Overwatch already with Antifa in apartments, in high-rises, on balconies, but mainly in parking garages, like their Army Special Operations Command or something. And they are going to have men in pickup trucks that are already out there practicing setting up checkpoints, shutting down roads.
How we can play this?
Ordering people to roll down their windows and pledge allegiance to Antifa,
is fucking
like this individual was doing a week ago who got shot and killed.
He must
downtown.
not be lying.
The identity of the Army sergeant who was doing his second job, drive share, food delivery, ride share and food delivery. They're now saying that witnesses that he indeed did aim a gun at him. So the Army sergeant shot him 5 times in the chest to protect his own life. That's why he's not been charged. But they were already planning this because I talked to several sources. This new expansion of taking over the roads and now taking over the parking garages is not in a response to this individual, we'll just call him Shark Eyes, getting killed this weekend. They were already planning to roll this out. In fact, he was part of that rollout, and they have armed men all over downtown routinely walking up and shutting down traffic and pointing guns at people. And the minute they roll down the window and declare fealty to George Soros's Black Lives Matter. And so this is how violent revolutions start, with idiots, cannon fodder sent out to do it. And the police have tried to be able to go up and obviously detain and arrest individuals. It's one thing to have an open carry and exercise your First Amendment, your Second Amendment. We do that. We totally support it. I mean, you do it properly. You don't aim guns at people or you get shot dead. And you notice we could have 40,000 people out in Virginia for our rally and not one person got hurt, not one problem happened. One left and started to fight and got arrested. And that totally freaked the globalists out. But their people are just absolute, again, meth head, devil-worshipping trash on average. The scum of the earth who are there as a smokescreen for more serious operators behind them.
I agree with you. That's why he's doing the still frame.
And so this is the type of time you're going to see
like it's Alex Jones.
bigger false flag event type things happen. But I can tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen,
It
that
appears to be an edited
communist
video.
forces, that's what Antifa is, in the Soros-funded, Democrat Party-funded Combine, are planning assaults on new police stations and federal buildings tonight all across the United States. And when the Austin police
Guess who's back? What's
bring
going on,
photos
Josh?
and video of this to the mayor's office, they are told you are to stand down. I've seen the photos. I've seen the videos. I've seen the internal memorandums. This is happening for sure. And the rest of the press is being given this information. Of course, they're not reporting it because they're little toadies. And, well, after all, the cops deserve to be shot in the back of the head. And, the police station deserves to be blown up. It's in the official city council budget to bomb with a controlled demolition as a symbol of stopping police hate. So, I mean, if they're publicly saying in the city council, blow up the police station, what do you think's going on? So there's going to be a Back to Blue demonstration this Saturday. I think Owen and Savannah Hernandez are going to be going. I don't want to go and overshadow it because it's not my event. I will be rolling around downtown in the armored vehicle because we need one because we're getting shot at here, educating folks about what's happening in the country. And then we are going to be downtown just as citizens watching what's going on in the parking garages and the rest of it. I'm just going to leave it at that because this is the time for all good men and women to come to the aid of their country. And so wherever you are around the country, but if you're in Milwaukee or you're in Austin, Texas, or you're in Phoenix, Arizona,
Yeah, that's fucked.
or you are in Los Angeles, California, or you're in New York City, or you're in Miami, these are some of the towns that Antifa says they're going to take over the police stations and burn them down Saturday night. And as you've seen, they've done it all over the country, so you should probably take them at their word. Past behavior is the most indicative of future behavior. Past performance is the most indicative of future behavior. And that's what they're planning. So that's what's going on. And I would just tell everybody who's going to be anywhere near downtown, you shouldn't go downtown in any of these cities to eat dinner. If you live in these areas, you should get out of them for the weekend, is my advice. If you have to be down there, you should be wearing body armor. I've never worn body armor. I'm going to wear body armor this weekend. It's just important to stay in the fight. And obviously, I'm a big target. And obviously, we'll be
I
armed.
can't believe Alex Jones going to get himself killed
somebody
this
comes
weekend.
up and points a gun at us,
This
we'll
is why
defend
he's been
ourselves.
talking
It's just
this week like,
the way it is.
it's over.
We just can't get on our knees to you people. So you've got all these LARPers that want to go out and have their live action role play in the real world. And what's crazy is, folks, I was reading this. This is actual, like, Al-Qaeda, ISIS terrorism. They are circulating on private Facebook that has been infiltrated by the feds, the state, and the local police. I mean, I've seen all this. And they're in there circulating where they're going to put their snipers. And they have rules of engagement that if the cops try to stop somebody setting up a checkpoint and pointing guns at people, some crazy meth head, they're going to shoot the cops. And the mayor
What about
has
now?
been
A bit better me
brought
over the video?
battle plans to put snipers on roofs, like we're back to the UT Tower shooting, and the mayor's going to let these people deploy with guns with the stated aim of Overwatch, that when men in pickup trucks are setting up checkpoints going down the wrong way, as they've already been doing this whole week, the police have been told to stand down, that when the cops or citizens resist being abused or killed, they're going to start shooting from rooftops. And again, Antifa can't hit the side of a barn, folks. So you're going to have people 200, 300, 400 yards away trying to shoot police cars. And you know they're going to just shoot their own people in the demonstrations. So this is the world we live in 2020. This is where Soros is taking us. This is where half the Justice Department being globalist.
I wasn't screaming.
And your average FBI
now I'm in
agent,
front of the
now being
computer
basically
talking.
an Antifa
What about
all-star. This is where we've gotten, on the verge of a communist overthrow. And the City Council of Austin, the official budget saying, hasten the controlled demolition of the police station as a symbol of stopping police hate.
Now you can hear me.
That's where we are. And people that don't even know which end of the gun and bullets come out of are going to be up there pretending.
All right, now it's going to be a little better. I hope.
on top buildings with their muzzles aimed down, scooting over crowds. I mean, I've been at demonstrations before, and they've had
I do need a mixer and a mic, man. This is evolving every day.
Their guns point out the crowd.
Every time I do this shit, y'all are inspiring me to get all these things and to keep on doing
it.
it.
A trench coat, you think something's going on? Okay, put a
this
scope
is why
on,
I'm doing it.
Don't be sitting there.
Because not one of you would be listening to Alex Jones right now if you weren't here. But because you're here, you are, and I love it.
Act. Well, what are you going to do with Antifa is up on rooftops pointing guns at people. And they are just absolute drug addict nuts. It's bad enough if a cop's aiming a Remington 700 308 at your head, and his finger's not on the trigger, his trigger discipline. That's still not called for. When you got a meth head devil worshiper on top of a rooftop, whacked out of their gourd, who plays video games all day, because this is all the incel crowd. That's who they are. This is all the incel crowd that became liberal. And so that's Austin, Texas this Saturday night. We'll be doing live streams on our own feed, built our own infrastructure, our own network to be able to even bring you this information. And I've asked my police source to call the police and let us show you these documents, because this is national news. And they're going over the documents right now to see if there's some way to black things out so that I can show you this. Because, I mean, there's maps put out by Antifa of where they're going to have shooters on the intel and the maps and the training and the planning to then build their own map of where Antifa and BLM Soros-funded terrorists, the same types that overthrew Ukraine 6 years ago, the exact same tactics. They ordered the police to stand down. They started shooting the police, and the public stood down. They overthrew the government and took over. They're not going to get rid of the police. They're going to take them over. And you see the little drug addict, devil worshiper, Antifa, and you think, well, those people won't do that.
Send me a link, Josh. Send me a link on Messenger to where I can get this shit. I'll buy it. I'll buy it tonight.
So what we're going to do is we're going to show you the intel we've been sent, the links, and we're going to just reconstruct it for you and show it to you that way. But obviously some of the locations we're not going to show for obvious reasons. But imagine being on Facebook and publicly preparing to put snipers, dozens of them on rooftops, talking about your rules of engagement, that in police...
I don't think I can. No, go to FromTheBottomOfTheRabbitHole.com and it will lead you there. The main video, the main stream on there is from YouTube, and it will lead you there. FromTheBottomOfTheRabbitHole.com. This is where my YouTube stream is.
Has told them that no police are allowed to use pepper spray or rubber bullets except SWAT. That's a tiny unit. And so you're going to see boiling out of their holes 10,000 communist, globalist, meth heads, homeless, drug addicts, criminals that want to take advantage of it. Basically, devil worshippers. That's what they are. I mean, go out and talk to them. I mean, got all these videos of Antifa. What do you identify as? I'm a Satanist that wants to kill babies and I hate America. And that's what they actually say.
Oh, my God.
And the police, again, in Austin is the next Portland. Austin is the next Seattle. But they didn't have armed men in trucks already setting up checkpoints, and the police told us to stand down. And so that way, these weird, crazy, brainwashed people that are being paid $20 an hour to do this, and the academics that control them, it's mainly academics, Weatherman 2.0 types, they're going out and driving the wrong way and setting up checkpoints and pointing guns at people. It's happened hundreds of times, we've confirmed. Only once did the individual get shot last weekend because it was an Army sergeant doing his second job, delivering food, veteran of Afghanistan. They start beating on his car. They block his car. The guy comes up, raises his rifle. The videos come out, and he shot him 5 times in the chest. Everybody else, though, just like you heard the guy before he got killed, he said, I'm intimidating everybody. They're a bunch of wimps. He used the P word. They're a bunch of pussycats. I love it. I'm out here letting the racists know I'm the boss. Just random old ladies, random people, terrorizing them. And the police have to sit there under orders and put up with that. That's the country we live in.
He's telling the truth, though.
And then the president has the federal and state courts and everybody saying that he's bad for not letting them burn down the federal courthouse in Oregon, in Portland.
This is the reality, folks.
Again, a dystopic novel you're reading. This isn't satire. This is really going on. And you ask, well, why? Because we've appeased everything. They take knees during the national anthem and now say America itself is bad. all the big NBA people worship communist China and their death camps, but we're bad. We let convicted pedophiles come into schools and have access to our children during pervert pedophile story time. We kill 62 million babies.
Yeah, but you know what? They're making it
Fauci,
illegal to defend yourself.
Under UN directives, sent people with the flu and pneumonia into nursing homes in 10 states where over half the deaths happen now. And that little mass murderer goes up on TV yesterday and says, with Andrea Mitchell on MSNBC, it's good to ban these doctors at their press conferences. They shouldn't be allowed to have speech. It's dangerous disinfo. When he's the one that had his study funded by Gates that hydroxychloroquine doesn't help you pulled because it was a lie. He's the one that said 2.5 million would be dead. He's the one that set the parameters at the UN level to say that everybody that dies of car wrecks or gunshot wounds is COVID-19. He's the one that said we're not going to count flu deaths as flu now. We're going to count them as COVID-19. I have all the documents. Next hour we'll get into that. He's the one that's lied and lied with fake tests and then tests from China that were contaminated with COVID-19, which is a real virus, a bad pneumonia with incredible gain of function. But still not as deadly as they wanted. And plus,
I have the documents.
So they've got a problem. They're adding all the deaths, and you've got the July effect where
I never claimed to obeying the laws. Fair enough.
Into their residency every year. You have a
The funny part is you would be obeying the law, but they would just frame it against you. That's what they're doing.
A practice. You practice on your patients. It's a cult. And some doctors are good, some are bad. And the UN admits that the doctors knew the vaccines were hurting people. And so now doctors themselves, thousands of them, have been censored on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google, all of it, for coming out and saying hydroxychloroquine saving people. But now major states are reversing and saying we're not following NIH guidelines. Even though Trump said stop doing those guidelines, the NIH ignores him. We're going to say you can treat with hydroxychloroquine because you always could for any viral infection. It was a default. Imagine that. An approved multi-hundred-year-old drug that's known to treat pneumonias.
Here goes Facebook, you guys.
Oh, your doctor can't prescribe Advil for joint pain. You're like, everybody does that. Nope, you can't. It's the equivalent of that. And I've got all the documents here where they had to withdraw their whole study. Because they want you dead, folks. This is a bioweapon that only kills people deficient in zinc, vitamin D3, and C. And old people get to where their guts do not absorb those anymore. Already a healthy person absorbs very little D3. You get to be 70, 80 years old. That's why they got to take bigger dosages of C, D3, and zinc when you're older. Are there side effects? Absolutely. High level, folks, if you take 300 milligrams of zinc a day, the studies say you can't get a viral infection. You just can't. But it'll kill your kidneys in a couple of years. That's why you want to. I personally decided to take about 60 milligrams a day. It's not the best for your kidneys. Drink plenty of water, but your cells are in like phlegm, baby. That's why it's called essential. And I know I keep hammering this, but you want to save lives, folks. Louis Gohmert got tested positive for COVID.
All right, everyone, make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel because I have a feeling this is not going to go very well for me. It seems like I can't get away from this narrative tonight.
Because the number one carrier of viruses is bacteria. Bacteria. I used to always hear, like, why is the doctor prescribing antibiotics for viral infection? Because that's what carries the viruses is the bacteria. Big studies out that we'll get to that, though, the antibiotics are causing leaky gut and Crohn's disease and all these problems. But then the other studies show you just take your probiotic or eat a ton of yogurt and things and you'll get it replaced. But they don't tell people that because they don't make money when you eat a bunch of yogurt or sauerkraut or pickles or what any old black lady would tell you 50 years ago that if you got gut problems, you go eat clay out the side of the river. Because Europeans did that too, and that's got all the trace stuff in it you need right there as well. But see, nobody makes money to go eat clay outside of
Facebook
the
being
riverbank.
dicks again. Yes,
No, they're
our
not giving you
video
a
from
desert
earlier
that
with
doesn't
the
even work,
with the
costs you $thousands and
Anderson
kills
Cooper
your ass.
video
The
has
cops
been
makes money off
removed.
that.
I was told if I get one more strike, I'm going to be suspended.
Antifa
And
with
he's on here
5-man
talking about
sniper teams
fucking
in buildings all downtown in their own words and photos of them already going there and doing dry runs. And then there are rules of engagement that if anyone tries to stop the takeover of the police department and burning it down, they will be shot and killed this weekend. So this is actual terrorism being publicly planned with Mayor Adler and all of them fully aware and letting it happen. Now that would sound crazy.
No, they did not list it as a copyright strike.
But
Facebook straight up told me it was violating community guidelines with information that could cause people harm. They were specific. I had to accept the violation, which I did.
Saying it's peaceful to shoot people at checkpoints and take over buildings and burn them down. I mean, they're normalizing and encouraging their people to believe they have immunity if they go out and engage in criminal activity. That's what this is. Because, you know, Bill Clinton and Obama and Hillary and Ghislaine Maxwell and Ted Turner and Bill Gates and all these people.
That's boo-boo, yes.
They're not going to do
correct.
this themselves.
That is my second Facebook video pulled over showing that video.
And they got enough wound up idiots who think they're on the right side of history that they're already doing. You know, just like out of Road Warrior, a fictitious future where Australia's collapsed after nuclear war or whatever. And there's guys roaming around in cars and motorcycles, setting up checkpoints and robbing and raping. That's what's going on in Austin right now. And then you've got the disciplined police following robotically their orders to stand down. But the police are trying to figure out how to do this right and not go along with this. Because like Tucker Carlson said, and I've said this 1,000 times, it's totally true. The social contract has been broken. And you can talk
Alex
bad
Jones
about
was
government all day.
completely
It's good, it's bad,
deplatformed
but it's
everywhere.
an American government, and it has empowered the people. We have empowered ourselves with this limited structure. It's gotten out of control. And now it's being taken over by hardcore criminals that are sworn to destroy our lives. And so the status quo is private property and Second Amendment and God and country and family, the Star Spangled Banner, and it's all under attack. Here's Tucker Carlson's report. It's on Infowars.com. America is witnessing a brazen power grab. Here it is.
After 2 months of rioting and political chaos, there are still people out there who claim this is all about the death of George Floyd. Believe it or not, there are. Some of the people who say that may actually believe it. We're giving them the benefit of the doubt. The liberal mom who lives next door to you, for example. She's probably entirely sincere when she lectures you about the scourge of police brutality. She means it. She has no idea BLM is about anything else. We're not judging, and that's not surprising. Most Americans are nice people.
Correct, Steve. This is not an official Alex Jones upload.
Face value because
they don't like speaking the truth. That's been the theme of tonight, is people telling you that you're stupid if you believe any of these things and not discrediting the information and criticizing the people instead.
Enemies of civil rights. What you're watching instead is a power grab. It's being coordinated by the most ruthless and cynical figures in American politics. They don't want you to know what they're doing. They're not honorable enough to state their intentions. They're not like you at all. When normal people want something, they can be aggressive. But the professional left never is. It's invariably passive-aggressive. Their first instinct is to manipulate rather than persuade. They hide their real beliefs. They say precisely the opposite of what they mean every time. They accuse you of the crimes they themselves are committing. It makes your head spin. Arguing with them is pointless, by the way. They're nihilists. They don't believe in the existence of truth or in the
I
fixed
did not
meaning
mess
of
with
words.
Twitch.
They
No,
care only
I'm
about
not on
power.
Twitch right now.
It's painful to say this. It hurts to admit there are people in our country who are like this, but there are, and they have more power than ever. If you needed more evidence of that, Barack Obama showed up at Congressman John Lewis's funeral today. Obama claimed he was there to eulogize his own friend, but that's not true, and that's not what he did. Instead, Obama gave a divisive and deeply dishonest campaign speech in church. Here's part of what he said.
By ending some of the partisan gerrymandering, so that all voters have the power to choose their politicians, not the other way around. And if all this takes eliminating the filibuster, another Jim Crow relic, in order to secure the God-given rights of every American, then that's what we should do.
It's hard to believe that clip is real, but it is, down to the cloying fake accent, Mr. Hawaii guy. But take 3 steps back. Imagine if some greasy politician showed up at your loved one's funeral and started throwing around stupid partisan talking points about Senate procedure. Can you imagine that? You would be shocked if that happened. You'd probably walk out. Desecrating a funeral with campaign slogans? What kind of person would do that? But Democrats in the audience didn't seem offended. They didn't blink. They cheered. It all seemed normal to them. And why wouldn't it? Political power is their religion. It's not out of place in a church. It's what
Trump
they
is
worship.
not outlawing or banning TikTok as of now.
Will do anything.
It was considered nothing is happening. If it happens, then it's news. As of now, it's a non-story. It was put out to make people who love TikTok turn on Trump.
They're subverting the
But
core
it is a
system in our
Chinese
government,
piece of
the justice
spyware.
system.
There's no debating
They're
that. It's
nullifying
Chinese
laws,
spyware.
burning police stations, attacking courthouses, working to eliminate the legal equality of American citizens, the foundation of it all. They've systematically repurposed federal law enforcement agencies as political weapons. They have imprisoned their political opponents. Their leaders have called for making all of these changes permanent by packing the Supreme Court, packing the United States Senate, packing the electorate itself by importing tens of millions of new voters. Why are they doing all of this? They'll tell you it's to make the country better and more just, but the country isn't improving and it's not fairer. They're doing this for one reason, to ensure they have complete control of the United States. We're watching it happen right now, though almost no one ever admits it, and those who do come close to getting shut down. We can tell you stories. So how should the rest of us respond to what we're seeing? And let's be clear, by the rest of us, we're not just talking about conservatives or people who watch the show. We're talking about literally everybody else. Moderates, the politically non-aligned, traditional liberals who still care about civil liberties. There are some of those. Sincere religious people of all faiths. Immigrants from abroad who came to this country because of our Bill of Rights, only to watch it evaporate once they got here. In other words, everyone who fundamentally loves this country, which is still most Americans.
Me.
What do people like that do in the face of this revolution? Well, it's simple. Defend the system that we have. That's our job. The American system is flawed. No one doubts that. But it works better than any other system in history. And tearing it down will not help. In fact, it will benefit only a few, the ones pushing for it, and it will crush millions. So if you care about the United States, fight for its institutions. They have served us well. This country has survived almost 250 years through a civil war.
The full video is on Infowars.com, and what he's saying is totally true. Due process.
Yes, I agree with him almost 100%. I love Tucker Carlson.
Camps in China. It gets in the way of the power elite and world government. And that's why everything.
Welcome everyone who's just joining in from wherever you are.
And was the apple of the eye.
Whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, from bottomoftherabbithole.com, I appreciate you being here. I want to recommend you go to YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit the bell because I'm probably getting thrown off of Facebook tonight.
Incredible liberty creates incredible wealth, and it creates incredible decadence. And then the cycle goes into decline. And then people forget what made us great, and then the scammers come in and brainwash people, and then they go along with, hey, let's just have a communist or fascist system, and it'll all be free, and of course they really all become slaves. Overnight. And then people say, well, why are they making this move? They'll never win. They've won everywhere else but here. That's why Soros is doing this. He's never been held accountable. He thinks he's going to win one way or the other. And we already know all this. Donald Trump was a confidential informant that exposed that Epstein was screwing a bunch of little kids and blackmailing people. That's why they've been pissed at him forever. And the FBI tried to set Trump up. That is the Clinton-Obama-run FBI. It's all in the news now. And they tried to rebrand it and say it was Trump because Trump had a private golf course that people came to, and he's been videotaped with Epstein. He did know Ghislaine Maxwell and all the rest of it. That's why when Trump says he loves Xi Jinping, we go to war with China. When he said he wishes Ghislaine Maxwell well, you really don't want Trump wishing you well. That's when Trump starts wishing you well, you should be a little angel of death flapping above you. But take good care of them. Yes, really care about them. It's not about defending Trump. It's about defending reality. Long before I backed Trump, I knew he was on Epstein's ass, exposing him. So we've got all this. I mean, it's really old news for this audience.
That's true. Trump testified against Epstein in 2009. Look it up.
I saw him in the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times and ABC News as, there's this group setting up a world government to depopulate us. They're superheroes. I actually said this. We played the clip many times.
We watched it earlier today.
In the Hall of Justice, Bill Gates, Ted Turner, Oprah Winfrey.
We watched this clip.
Yes. They're going to depopulate you.
He's telling the truth.
What the hell is this? And I went and looked and like, well, who manages it? Oh, Jeffrey Epstein. And they meet at Einstein, University or whatever, and Rockefeller University, literally. Rockefellers run it all. And there it is. It's a cult. And so people want me to cover this. I mean, okay, sure, we'll cover it right now. Court docs detail Maxwell's constant orgies with young girls on Epstein Island. New York Post, young girls, 14, 15 years old. Kidnapped, taken there. It's just disgusting. Ghislaine Maxwell trained underage girls as sex slaves. Documents, London Guardian. Breaking, the real bad guys in the Epstein case uncovered. Director Robert Mueller's FBI. And they were there. They knew it. They were using it for blackmail for the Clintons. People knew when they went there they were getting videotaped. And by the way, folks, the real news that's come out is that they had boats in the Caribbean pulling up. It was 14, 15, 16-year-old girls on the plane there, mainly Eastern European. A lot of them had been bought from their parents. That's come out in court. They were like 10. And then Ghislaine will get them ready in a couple of years for operations.
That is fucked.
Mainly recruiting other little girls. Right out of the school system in New York and Florida, you name it. But ladies and gentlemen, the boats coming in were bringing in children as young as 2 who they would rape and then murder. Now remember, I'm the guy that first told you about this. You understand, Epstein and Clinton dismember children with meat cleavers.
Oh my God.
After they're done raping them. They shoot them in the head. I mean, you name it. I mean, it's the videos that were seen by the New York police, literally grown men that have seasoned homicide investigators that have dug up dead bodies could not watch. I mean, they had to go and
so now they're calling truth seekers conspiracy theorists. They always have.
Children begging for mommy with Hillary plunging knives.
They always have, Heather.
And you're like, well, that sounds insane. Who do you think these people are? It's all about their selfishness and all their billions of stolen money. And so their aberrance is, I had an extra beer tonight, or I had 5 enchiladas instead of 3. No. They like driving daggers into babies begging for mommy. So here, you want me to cover? I'll cover.
You know why they don't sue them for saying this? Because then they would have to go to court and prove that they don't.
Tie Citizen Trump to Epstein case, but with no success.
That's why they killed Cappy.
The documents. Let's get Trump, because he'd been the informant. With the Epstein docs unsealed, the FBI is dragged back into the limelight. It's not good. Watch live. Maxwell documents reveal globalist panic. Court docs detail goes into all of it. Bill Clinton flew on Jeffrey Epstein's orgy island with 2 young girls. Bombshell documents. But there's no bombshell documents. It's in the damn flight manifest. That's old news. And it goes on, 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 and it goes on. And who do they kill? Who do they torture? They torture and kill little children and old people. Suffer the children. Once the man, twice the child. Shakespeare said it's true. Over 15,000, last time I checked, old people died in nursing homes when they shipped patients in with pneumonia and the flu to call it COVID-19. So if they'll kill 15,000 innocent old people because they just want to, what do you think they're going to do to everybody else? They're setting the precedent to bioweapon old people so they can steal their pension funds. And we sit here and we wonder they're having sex with 14-year-olds. They're not just having sex with them. That's gateway drug number one. That's like marijuana compared to fentanyl. The fentanyl is the torture of the children and the literal scaring the hell out of them and the drinking of their blood that is filled with all the hormones of panic. And they drink the physical blood of the panic attack of the dead child, and they get pliers and pull out the pituitary gland, and they eat the top of their kidneys and the adrenochrome. And because you aren't like that, when you eat a little Dutch chocolate ice cream at 10 o'clock at night, you feel guilty. They don't feel guilty. They're like, what is the most evil thing I can do? I'm going to do it. I mean, look at Bill Clinton right there. That's a child-raping devil worshiper.
God damn it, they're showing Bill Clinton.
That for 14 years authorized Bayer Pharmaceuticals to ship out blood from the prison, every ampule filled with HIV and hepatitis. And it came out in documents. They did it as a ritual. They wanted to kill all the hemophilia. They enjoyed. They got brownie points with Satan when they killed a bunch of people. So there, you wanted me to talk about it, I did. We're going to go to break.
Doesn't Biden own the island next to Epstein? No, it's not frozen, Josh. That's just how this video is uploaded to YouTube so it doesn't get taken down. I don't know if Biden owns the building next to Epstein.
Congress, the president puts up with it. But for how long? Things are changing. I can't tell you about it all yet.
And I'm not chewing. I have a
fight now happening.
Zin.
Please don't forget that today really should be the last day. It may go
Yo, what up, Jay Jakes? Look who it is.
Special yet. We're selling out of everything. Supply chains are breaking down. Everything's going to hell in a handbasket, as you know. We still have these products in stock, though. So I'm advertising something. We got it in stock. It ships out within days.
Welcome to the stream tonight, bro. Make sure you like my YouTube channel. I got another strike tonight. One more strike and they suspend me.
Vaso Beats is selling out. Turbo Force is selling out. Mineral Fusion is selling out. And they're all 50% off still. Survival Shield X3, Survival Shield X2, Lung Cleanse, Ultra 12, DNA Force, Winter Sun, Chill Force, Super Female Vitality, Boundary Selenium, Extendawise. They're all 50 to 60% off, and it must end. Only reason we're doing Christmas in July this year is because I'm not sure we're going to be here in December, quite frankly. I mean, it's that, it almost takes the weight off me, though. It's like kind of like the battle's already started, stuff so nuts down. It's like, whatever. I'll be honest. Crew's like, why are you in such a good mood? Why are you being... Because I just thought I could stop all this. And now it's like, okay. It's all up to God. I give it to God. I mean, I'm going to keep fighting as hard as I can.
I'm fighting, goddammit. Don't give up.
I mean, if America chooses devil-worshipping pedophiles to rule us, and we let people run around and just burn down courthouses, and they call those the good guys and say that's not violent, then if you want all this, have it. Because here's the good news. All the candy asses that love tyranny and think you're going to keep all your stuff once things collapse, I actually have pleasure in all the corrupt lawyers and the bureaucrats that think I care about things and think that they mess with me and try to... when I don't give a damn about any of it, I'm going to give my body up. And
I haven't watched him in over a year. Me either, until like a few months ago.
You summoned your own destruction.
No, like a week or two ago. A few weeks ago.
Like, getting out of the way of the angel of death going, I mean, I can feel the presence coming into the planet. God is about to judge us unless we really say no and seek God's face right now. The decision is now. I'm talking the next 24 hours. It's not a real virus. I'm not saying it doesn't kill some people, but the way they handled it and exacerbated it and hyped it up is designed to shut the economy down. That is all coming up. But let's talk about Herman Cain, who died yesterday. You know, he had liver cancer. He had... bowel cancer. He had a bunch of cancers. He was really sick. I don't know people that know him well. And he died of pneumonia, but they're saying COVID-19. Did he really die of the ventilator? That's the question we asked. The reports at Man.video. Here it is. Herman Cain killed by COVID-19? Or like so many others, was he killed by the
I used to watch it for more than an hour every night. Election season 2016 was prime Alex Jones. Yes, I agree. I watched him all night on election night. He did like an all-nighter. He was the only one I trusted.
Talk show host, former presidential Republican candidate.
He was drinking champagne when Trump won. It was dope.
The headlines, he died of COVID-19. But read the fine print. Here are the facts that we know right now. Upwards of 90% of people who are put on ventilators with COVID-19 end up dying.
I sent you a link in Messenger about 16 minutes ago.
Most of the top scientists and doctors have said you should not be put on a ventilator. You should be given steroids to cause inflammation to go down because people are having an autoimmune response. As soon as I heard he died, I began to read and watch what was happening, and they announced within an hour that indeed, ladies and gentlemen, he'd been put on a ventilator and that he died on a ventilator. Also, Herman Cain was 74 years of age. Herman Cain had a lot of underlying health conditions. I know that because I know some of the people that were involved, Neil Bortz and his production crew, years ago when they co-hosted shows. And you can also see in the last
Heather, your video is on deck.
He was very, very frail and wasn't as strong as he had once been. He was still a workaholic. So again, we were told that 2.5 million people would be dead by now. It's actually 150,000. And most of those are people that died of gunshot wounds, car wrecks, motorcycle accidents, skydiving accidents, and yes, even shark attacks. In this case, he's a 70-something-year-old man who already had pre-existing health conditions. He tested positive for COVID-19. Now, that doesn't even mean he had COVID-19. Most of the tests, it turns out, are false. If you've had a cold or the flu in the last few years, it shows up as a false positive as well. They just said 600,000 members of the military had COVID. It was an accounting error. They're doing everything they can to push up these numbers. And Herman Cain wanted to reopen the economy. Herman Cain supported President Trump having his rallies again. And they're trying to say that because he went to the Tulsa rally, that's where he got COVID-19 with no evidence. Herman Cain's death should not be used to keep America shut down. The UN admits millions of people are on the edge of starvation and already starving because when the first world shuts down, the third world dies, ladies and gentlemen. Herman Cain was for opening the economy. We should not let the leftists and the globalists and Bill Gates use his death to keep things locked down.
Getting a hurricane warning here in Florida. Scary shit, Jay.
It's about getting us further into debt. It's about the whole surveillance state. It's about forced inoculations and digital microchips they inject into you to prove you.
We just watched something on this.
For months, Bill Gates has now come out and admitted through his foundation that indeed they want you to take a microchip to be able to travel in an airplane or have a job. Ladies and gentlemen, the New World Order tyranny isn't coming, it's here. I really liked Herman Cain. He was a very positive, very friendly guy, and most of talk radio is very negative, very warlike, including myself, because that's what it takes to win this fight. But he was able, with humor and incredible wit, to really do a great job, and I thought he did a better job than Neil Bortz on Neil Bortz's program. So again, I'm very, very sad to hear that Herman Cain, who I had a chance to meet at the
Category 1 should be fine. Thank God, Jay.
He's one of the best political minds we have. I disagree with him on quite a few things, but overall, he was a great American. He'll be sorely missed. Don't let these ghouls use his death to kill America, kill our economy, and kill the third world. Reopen
Jan Bama shared the stream. Thank you, my friend. It's probably going to be the last time.
Insider trading and for lying to people and sending sick people to nursing homes so that actually gets some real death numbers. And don't ever forget, almost everyone that's put on one of these breathing machines dies. Normally that saves somebody with pneumonia, but this virus is different. It's an autoimmune response. So warn your family and warn others. The most dangerous place for them to be is in a hospital, not just during COVID-19. Upwards of 500,000 Americans die a year of medical malpractice. That's not even counting the other 300,000 that die from flesh-eating bacteria and other infections in hospitals. The most dangerous place in the world is in a U.S. hospital. Thanks for even being involved with this, so we're not putting his name on it this time, but we already knew these numbers. We thought we'd get a degreed PhD statistician to come and look at the numbers all over the country where they take the flu and the other deaths and they put it in the COVID-19 column. And we've done it. It's in a Don Salazar article on Infowars.com. Scandemic, CDC stats show flu deaths dropped as COVID deaths increased. Data shows agency categorizing deaths from common flu as COVID deaths. That's the article. We'll get to it in a moment. But first, a big Zero Hedge article that links to mainstream news. ABC, you name it. Ohio withdraws ban on hydroxychloroquine. Fauci accused of misinformation campaign. Now imagine saying Tylenol doesn't help headaches. I mean, everybody knows that's not true. Or ibuprofen doesn't help inflammation in joints. Hydroxychloroquine goes back to quinine. It was used by the Aztecs 1,000 years ago. The Dutch found out about it from the Spanish 400 years ago. I mean, it kills malaria, okay? It's an antiviral. It's established. It's ridiculous. But if you're Fauci with
I'm glad it's on the east side of the state. I live in the Tampa area. Thank God, Heather.
He owns part of it.
Do you have a logo yet? No, I do not, Josh.
So this article lays out how the governor now of Ohio came out and said executive order.
But everybody,
you can
that
now
is the
prescribe
link
it. You could
for
before.
the
They put
YouTube
orders
channel.
in saying
Make
you
sure you're
could.
subscribed in case I get
And
thrown
imagine
off.
medical doctors at
That's
press
the link. You can
conferences,
click on it.
and they are
For all you
being
guys on
shut
Facebook,
down.
make sure you're
They're being
subscribed.
told they can't do it.
Hit the bell.
Okay,
I should be live
No,
there
sorry,
also
Michael.
Yeah,
with a live
they're
chat.
being fired too, Alex. Some of these nurses or doctors. Some of these doctors are being fired.
That's right, because it's all intimidation. So researchers retract botched anti-hydroxychloroquine study, which was used to attack Trump. That was happened 2 months ago. So the UN uses a botched study paid for by Fauci and Gates to say that it doesn't help you. That was a lie, and they're still doing that. Think how criminal.
They took veterans who were dying, Alex, and gave them hydroxychloroquine. Like, oh, well, they died. Well, they were already dying. They were already on death's bed. They started giving it to them.
Exactly. Gates funded hydroxychloroquine
I had no idea
studies are
Jeff
designed to kill people.
Jeff
Researchers retract botched
Manganiello was
hydroxychloroquine study,
an info
which was used to
warrior.
attack Trump. Coronavirus
Why the
influential
fuck,
study of
man?
hydroxychloroquine withdrawn.
Like, I think this
Atlanta
motherfucker
retracts
wants to
large
get
study
me
of
kicked off.
hydroxychloroquine. So, meanwhile, video, Trump defends viral hydroxychloroquine doctor, says, I thought she was very impressive. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen,
Nice.
they're trying to shut anybody
Jam
down
Bam, a nice
that
thanks for
puts
the
this
sub.
out, including Donald Trump Jr. So it's Alex Jones 2 years ago. Now it's medical doctors at a press conference, and Fauci goes on TV, Rob, dude, and says yesterday, I agree, don't let doctors have speech. This is beyond the Soviet Union.
And the head of YouTube admitted it. He said, hey, it doesn't follow CDC, UN guidelines, so we just ban them. We don't let doctors who've been practicing, that's what you practice medicine, they've been practicing medicine, having results with hydroxychloroquine.
But this is an
you can't have that.
established antiviral no.
Oh, yeah, they've been using it for years. And
It's
the
like,
doctor,
it's like saying brush your teeth and get rid of cavities.
and the doctor who he's talking about, this black lady, she's from Nigeria. She's been using hydroxychloroquine for years to treat people with malaria. She knows how it works. Plenty of other doctors have come out and said, hey, there's no problem with it. Even Dr. Drew, the TV doctor, said, I prescribe it all the time. I've never had any problems with it, because they were talking about the heart problems. He goes, I've never seen anyone with heart
They've
problems.
had all these doctors come out and say, I've got 1,000 patients, I got 300 patients, it's a fact. It's like saying electricity comes out of a light socket. I mean, they are literally let me ask this before we get into the study that we paid for and the huge news. Why are they skipping animal trials? Why are they admitting that 100% of people have side effects of the vaccine? 20% are hospitalized? Like, they just don't care. They're just doing it.
They're skipping animal trials because then they don't have to. What they have is they'll do another study after they inject you with it. You know, for a human trial, it goes up to here, and then with the animal trial, they go one step further where they can put the virus into the animal and see how it reacts.
But 100% of the ferrets die.
Exactly. Well, with the old coronavirus, because they've been trying to get coronavirus vaccines for years. That's supposedly
Because they were going to release the coronavirus as soon as they got it.
Exactly. And now it's what, an RNA vaccine?
He called it. He said it.
DNA.
They
And they're like,
always
this is
That's
They
why it
always
escaped,
weaponized-
because the vaccine wasn't
the
ready.
Holy Grail was a weaponized common cold.
right, because it spreads fast. And then, you know, some people really get it and they'll die off, and it gets rid of I guess the people who are older who have comorbidities, because that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of people die from this.
Yeah, the average age is
But
like 82.
Yeah, they're 82 and they have all these other problems. They have diabetes, they have high blood pressure, they have cancer, all kinds of things.
And this is Gates who says, I want to kill old people.
Yeah.
And then he hooks up at Wuhan on record, him and Fauci, something that kills old people. And I love how he goes on TV and goes, I'm not involved. And the whole internet goes and finds all the clips of him.
Yeah.
How much trouble is Gates in, though?
Well, you could tell when even Nora O'Donnell asked him about the side effects and the adverse reactions, and he starts, he can't get his words out because
Well, the FDA, they'll do it.
they'll do it. They're the gold standard. And yeah, there it is right there. I mean, and he's talking about the severe pain in the arm, and he's rubbing his arm. It's just severe pain.
But 20% had to be put on ventilators. They had to be put in hospitals.
Oh, yeah. And they're not
Can
going
you
to show
imagine?
you
They're going to try to give millions of people this? This is actually psychos destroying themselves. I don't want people to die, but I kind of like, they want to normalize everybody. Can you imagine when they start giving the vaccine, how they're going to try to cover up the deaths?
Oh, totally. You had the guy come out who was in the trial and said, I went home and I had the worst fever. I felt horrible, but I still think people should take the vaccine. I mean, that's how crazy these people are. They've been brainwashed into believing anything that these authority figures say.
Well, that's it. They're just like Aztecs. Come up here, we're going to chop your heart out.
That's what I say.
Yeah, they're like, okay.
This is like, we can't cover up the vaccines are hurting people. We'll just get people to accept it.
Yeah. They've accepted it with the mask. Now they're going to try this goggle thing. That's, in 2 months, everybody's got to wear goggles to walk into Walmart. And it's never going to end.
Because if they can make you do all that, you'll take a chip. You'll take the Gates officially, like it's in Google, it's on their own Microsoft site, that you're going to have to take a chip to buy and sell.
Yep.
And then they go, but we're not doing it. It's like on their site that this is officially happening. BBC says you'll have to have this, but then Gates goes, I know nothing about this.
Well, they're going to do all these things. You can't go to a bar. You can't do this. You can't travel to certain states until, now the vaccine's here, the magical vaccine. People are like, just give it to me. Please, just give it to me. And then you're going to see people.
And then Gates goes, oh, sorry.
Get really sick.
It's 5 a year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. And then we have to make a new one.
You gotta wear goggles.
And he even admits it when he's talking to the reporter, Gates. He's like, well, we had to give a high dose. We had to give him 2 doses. And that's what they do. It's like, no, 1 dose.
Well, young people get 2, old get 5.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. You got to really amp it up for old people. He said that. And we're going to have 700,000 people have really bad adverse reactions. So, I mean, get ready, people, because when it comes to you, are you going to take that jab?
Sometimes they got to kill us. Yeah, and so they got to have a cover. It's like, yeah, you're all going to die. Just get ready. We need to save you by killing you.
It totally boggles the mind of what is going on and what people are putting up with.
You know Bill Gates.
Brian Gregg, I'm coming up in 2 weeks. I better see you.
Nobody.
I live in Massachusetts now, Jay, but I'll do my best to get down there. Or if you drive up here, we can chill.
Making you take something in your body. And those of us that aren't rapists don't get a rapist.
Maybe you can come by on a Friday night and crash, and you can come and stream with me.
And he is a globalist.
You did see me in a wheelchair at a corn concert, 100%.
I want to put a shirt out that just says Bill Gates vaccine rapist.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, he literally wants to stick with fetal tissue. I mean, it'd be bad if you get raped. The person might have a disease, but this is like dead babies and diseases. And
now we see again, speaking of rapists, Bill Clinton is a rapist. It came out in court documents. Once again, raping little girls.
And now he's going to rape
Bill Clinton is a rapist. Infowars.com. I posted that today on Facebook, baby.
You name it. We looked at a whole bunch of states and found what people were saying 6 months ago, 5 months ago was true. They're counting all the flu deaths, you name it, in the same column. So Rob Deuce here, you hired a statistician to go over this. Stories on InfoWars. This starts out with Arizona. Let's walk through this.
Yeah, and I had him look at the hotspot states. So Arizona, Florida, Michigan, Texas, those are all Florida. That's where they said this is where it's all happening. So if you look, and you can see you have the flu deaths here.
I was August 6th. I remember it was my birthday. Hell yeah, Jay.
Deaths per day.
Happy birthday next month.
And
I hope
this
that's
is
when
actually
they're
the
coming.
flu is the blue line. The COVID deaths, you can see the number. It's 140. It almost gets to 140 a day at one point. But you can see how as the flu goes down, COVID's magically taking its place. And
in graphic after graphic, it's the exact same signature. Yeah. It's just a computer change.
Exactly.
Which they admit they're counting flu as the death, but here's the numbers.
There's the numbers. And then if you look at pneumonia follows almost the same path as COVID, almost the same number. So I've got him doing pneumonia deaths next.
I really don't think it's as bad as they push it too, because I know a lot more homeless people and none have gotten sick this Thursday.
It took him all to gather.
Heather, I'm starting to agree with you more and more.
Which is going to be great.
The more they censor people who speak like this, the more I agree with them.
Pneumonia deaths throughout the years to see if there's a big change in these states. We're looking at these specific states now. I think next we go and look at states that didn't have lockdowns and see what the numbers are, because I think you're going to see totally different stats. Exactly, there was the manipulation going on. So you're seeing that.
And meanwhile, New York will not release data because they're running the.
He was looking at New York. He goes, I can't make sense of it. None of it makes sense. He's like, it's different in different places. So we kind of excluded New York, even though New York was one of the ones I said we need to look at that. And he goes, I can't make sense of this. And you could
well, because they know what they're doing there. They're covering up.
Well, yeah. I mean, New York's old school mobsters. They know how to manipulate data. They know what they're doing to get the money, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. The more COVID patients you have.
50,000 for everybody, you put it to them and kill you.
Like Hank Johnson said, money. So let's go to California, and you can see California, almost the same signature, but you've got, maybe 10 times more, almost 10 times more COVID deaths than flu deaths. But it's like, here we got the dip, and we have the dip. And then as these go down, these go up. It's really weird. They just manipulate it. They put it out a few weeks and drop the number or raise the number up. And that's what we're going to
see. What's crazy is it matches. Like they cut off the flu, and the same signature of what it would have done is the same deal.
And then you almost have the same thing with pneumonia if you look at these with multiple causes of death, which is the comorbidities and then the underlying.
And so look at it, they match.
It's crazy. It's really crazy what they've done. I'll pull this down so you can see pneumonia, and they kind of do the same thing. And then flu is almost the exact same thing. It's like they've just remanipulated the data and added a bunch more deaths to it. Or
they're being extremely lazy.
They are. And, I think that's part of the thing.
Point is, it's all fixed.
But it's, the fraction magic. We talked about this election method.
Fraction magic.
Yeah. We're just going to make these little maneuvers right here, and you're not going to see them because it's not whole numbers. It's fractions. So you never, it's hard to find I guess, the signature. But here you go. Same thing in Florida. Big scoop goes down. Big scoop goes down. And then they cross each other as one's going down, one starts going up. I mean, it's comical when you look at it.
Talking about a double cross, there it is.
There you go. And it's in every state does the same thing. Here's Texas. So, we've seen Texas going up and down and crazy.
But Rob, what's crazy is they admit they're adding regular deaths to it. So it's not like it's even our opinion. We just have graphs showing it. It's just like, my God.
Michigan State Senator Dr. Jensen came out, and then they investigated him for saying what they told him to do. He went out and said, hey, they're telling us if we suspect it's COVID, you can put COVID on the death certificate. He goes, well, I've never heard of that. So I had to go out and talk to people.
So now he's got an ethics investigation.
He's got it. Well, they just ended it. But it took him, he was under this.
But this other doctor, for being in a press conference saying,
she gets
saying hydroxychloroquine help my patient, she's fired.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other one gets tarred and feathered through the media.
Because the bureaucracy is saying, we don't care about your degree or your patients or your proof. We're the insurance companies. We're the bankers. We say what reality is.
We care about the numbers, and we care about, let's look at this. Who's funded by the major news media? It's Big Pharma. So they're working hand in hand on this. And, hey, we got to promote remdesivir. Okay, cool. We're on that.
There's a total
we got to go against hydroxychloroquine. We have to have a law where you can't have these drug companies.
But imagine remdesivir in their fake study had an 8% increase in life. And it turns out it actually probably kills you in the other studies. But then something that has a 99% success rate that's cheap.
Oh, we got to crush that.
This is murder.
Oh, it's total murder. And then we had the doctor out in West Texas with budesonide.
Murder.
He was
It's murder.
Steroid.
Yeah. He said, hey, this is working with all my patients. They're like, oh, no, we can't. We got to drag this guy through the mud. Anybody who comes out with anything that works, it's like
folks, just
only vaccine.
Because they're murdering everybody. And at the end of the day, it's all going to pan out.
Yeah.
Look at these other.
Here's Michigan. This is from Dr. Jensen came out. Look, it matches perfectly the pneumonia, almost to the week in that. But then you have the same thing, a big rise here. I guess this is when they started killing the old people here, but they still have the same peak. And then it drops down almost the same way. It's weird how this stuff works when you start looking at the numbers. And then you have in Texas where we have them on video saying we're going to count one person, we're going to multiply that, or we're going to add 15 to that. Every time we get one case.
And that's why people all over the country, because the NIH still runs it, even if Trump tried to shut them off, if one person gets it, they count 15 more. That's why you never even been to the doctor. You get a letter. You have COVID-19.
Exactly.
Because somebody near you had it.
Some people are getting positive and negatives in the same. They're getting them sent. You got it? Oh, no, you don't have it.
And they never went and took it.
No.
Because a computer says somebody you were around had it who was also a fake positive.
Right. And we're trying
so
to
what this is just, the globalists just said, hey, take the gloves off. People are awake to us. Just use the medical system. It's trusted. Hammer them with disinfo.
And just ban people. Ban people when they speak up. You notice they're getting a lot quicker at banning people. It barely took them 24 hours to pull that nurse press conference, which is like a 10-minute video off.
Yeah, notice it was a big deal when they banned me. And now it's just like, no doctors. If the UN doesn't approve it, you can't talk.
Exactly.
I mean, we're under UN control, folks. So
And
that's
that's
what you order. It's not UN approved. It doesn't go on the internet.
I just found they did a 6-hour summit. I found part 1. You can't find part 2 anywhere. But I'm going to go put that up today. That's going to be 3 hours of these doctors and having long discussions with each other. Even Dr. Erickson, one of the first doctors to get banned off YouTube, is in with this group. So these are
and let's expand.
all over the country.
We should create a segment that's at Banned.video called Banned Medical Videos.
Well, we have one called Banned by Globalists. I think it's called Censored by Globalists is the channel that we created. And it's got most of this medical information.
Censored by Globalists. That's the theme of tonight, is anti-globalist.
What do you think how I'm taking this?
I mean, now they're banning doctors.
It's like in World War II, like German bombers are bombing Britain. They bomb my business. You go, we're so sorry for you. Like, they're coming back tomorrow to bomb you.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't even know what these people are thinking here. It's like we're under globalist attack where doctors can't even tell you what's happening with their patient.
They're not thinking. They're reacting. And it's so much information's coming at them. All they do is react, and they don't have time to really sit and think. And they keep doing it, and they keep piling it on. So that's how it's happening. It's no thinking. It's all right.
Well, the report's on Infowars.com. Only way the dog hunts is you share the link.
I hope you get a negative. I hope that means either a negative test or my strike goes away.
Vaxxed, and he also has the show, The High Wire.
Del Bigtree's with us on Twitter.
But you know what? I just hope you guys are all subscribed to the YouTube, because if this goes away, I'm still going live. Oh my God, first he had Manganiello, now he has Robert De Niro.
That owners of hospitals, clinics, doctors, scientists, epidemiologists, Rockefeller University scientists, they go public, they say basic things that are true. They say, hey, they said 2.5 million would die, 150,000. They're putting people that died in automobile accidents
in
the
I'm
thing.
seeing it
They're
now.
counting flu deaths.
Jakes, I'm getting tested on the 12th so I can fly up on the 15th. I didn't see your comment, Jay. I hope it's negative as well, obviously.
From the UN, and if they say it's not allowed, we don't do it. And Fauci, who's been wrong about everything, is like,
yeah, I definitely feel more comfortable chilling with you if you get tested before you come up.
In America, this feels like jumping the shark. Del Bigtree, what do you think's happening?
I think it's one of the most outrageous moments in American history. We are watching the American dream on fire right now as we speak. I think that you have real crimes against humanity taking place. This is Nazi stuff in my mind. You know, or let's look at it as Tuskegee experiment. This is what I get asked about all the time. You know, we had African Americans that had syphilis. We had a cure. We didn't give it to them. One of the tragic moments of the CDC, the NIH, where Fauci works. Well, that's happening right now. You've got hydroxychloroquine that is being shown to be successful in 65 studies internationally. You have the Ford Medical Center, which is one of our best research hospitals, that came forward after a study of 6 of their hospitals, randomized study, and they said half the people died in the hydroxychloroquine group than those that died that didn't receive it, meaning we would have half the death rate had this nation used hydroxychloroquine. And now you still have Fauci coming out against Ford Medical Center. He's got no science to push to it.
It's incredible.
And I think, honestly, he's putting it all on the line. You got to hand it to the guy, because now if he's wrong, when we prove that he's wrong, when the world finally says hydroxychloroquine was the cure, we got to put these guys up for trial for murdering hundreds of thousands.
Nuremberg trial. Nuremberg.
Absolutely.
We're not just saying that. I agree. He's got chutzpah I've never seen.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, he is doubling down for whatever reason it is. This agenda is so powerful. I mean, I've been saying all along the agenda is to force vaccinate every adult, every person in America.
And now they admit it.
And now they're admitting, right? They're telling you, we will not let your lives go back to normal until there is a vaccine. We are going to destroy this, this economy, and however long it takes, we will not let your kids go back to school. We will not let you have the life you had before until our vaccine agenda is fulfilled. And
then it's an RNA, DNA vaccine that goes in and reprograms itself?
I mean, it's terrifying. Really. I mean, it's hard to wrap your head around what's happening. The Moderna trial.
No, I mean, even Alex Jones can't do it.
I know.
I mean, I'm getting to the point where I'm just like, this isn't even real.
This is even real. It's a failed concept. For decades, have been working on mRNA vaccines, but everyone in the Moderna trial got sick, okay? Everyone had an adverse reaction. The high dose had severe adverse reactions. But what's happening in their bodies, Alex? This isn't a piece of a virus how we usually make a vaccine. We didn't just put a little piece or a dead virus inside where your body's kind of like, what is that? And it reacts, and maybe you have a fever. They'll say, like, they excuse that you're kind of getting a little light.
They're giving you the disease.
They're basically giving you data. There's basically this data code.
Now they're going in and rewriting the book.
Right. They're rewriting your book. Why are you getting sick? What about rewriting your book to make you sick? They don't know. That's what's crazy.
There's giant lab experiment.
It is a giant lab experiment that's failing. And they say, well, there's not long-term events. How do you know?
Well, Dale, we always feel guilty about rats and guinea pigs being tested on. You don't look like a guinea pig to me. I don't either. This is crazy.
It is crazy. These are real human beings. And look, I hope they're being paid well. I hope they were told right up front that animals died when we did this in animal trials, so you are risking your life.
Let's talk about that. When we come back, we should probably pull up the CBS clip where they go, 80% are having bad reactions. 20% are going to the hospital. And it's like, but it's not a problem. This is all safe and effective. Del Bigtree's our guest. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen, and tell folks to tune in.
And thank you guys for sticking along, watching some Alex Jones exposing yourself.
We're so honored to have you here in Austin.
Thank you.
In studio.
In a strange way, in 2020, one of the most reasonable, rational men on the internet, Alex Jones, understanding what's going on in this world.
InfoWars, the 3 phases of the lies with the vaccine and all the huge health problems.
I was afraid of my test result because of all these fake positive cases, but mine was negative. Thank God.
They're saying by
absolutely,
December,
Heather.
and started injecting everyone. How are they going to cover that up?
I mean, amazing, right? You got Tony Fauci out there saying that Well, we just don't see the safety in hydroxychloroquine, even though it's been safe for 65 years, given to pregnant women that are breastfeeding. That's how safe they believe that drug is. But when we have everybody getting sick in the Moderna trials, sickness in the Oxford trials of AstraZeneca, the two different top running contenders of the vaccine, they say, Fauci says, I'm not concerned about the adverse events. And we're going to get this out to the public before we're done with all the safety trials. And I've been looking at the safety trials. Alex, you've never seen a bigger mess of webs of hidden, I mean, they got all these branched off.
And even CBS is like,
shocked.
Like, wait a minute, 80% are having bad effects, 20% go to the hospital?
Right. I mean, serious.
He's like, the FDA, they'll do a good job.
Yeah, well, and you have Bill Gates saying, well, if the FDA isn't pressured, they'll do a good job. By the way, I just want you to know, my nonprofit, we put forward a petition to the FDA demanding, because we've won lawsuits against CDC, FDA, Health and Human Services, so they're not happy with me right now, which is probably why I got kicked off of YouTube. But I put forward a petition demanding that the FDA cannot call a vaccine safe. It's not being compared against a saline placebo. They were going to use the meningococcal vaccine as the saline group in the second and third phase trials. 2 days after our demand, at least now we have it. It's going to be a saline placebo.
I have to thank you for my family.
I mean, and that's
what shows that people challenge things. We have an effect.
We have an effect. We do, and that we are really starting. You sue and you win against government health agencies. They have a real issue, so they're changing the protocols, thank God. But here's the problem. They're only going to look at, the safety profile for a couple of months. When we talk about the autoimmune diseases, all the issues, these people are getting sick on the spot, fevers, going to the hospital. But
exactly. What's coming later?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows
Obviously,
what's going on the
DNA vaccine that changes your cells.
Your DNA is mutating as we speak. We started with a fever and a lot of pain. Where does it end? That's the question. We don't know where this
obviously it's like somebody's got a gun to Gates' head. Like, what? Why are they doing this?
Is that the case? I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know.
But what they're doing is very destructive.
It looks to me that Gates is attempting to be a world power. It looks to me he's stepping in. Maybe there's someone beside him, but I have a feeling he's saying, get out of the way, Rothschilds, get out of the way. I made the move. I have Silicon Valley, and I have all of the medical establishment. I'm putting this cabal together.
I agree. Because if he can rape us,
the world. I don't know.
If he can put in our body what he wants and admit it's going to kill us, he's God.
And shut down every way that we now communicate with each other via the web or the internet or any 5G, anything's going on. He's got his fingers in all that. He can control the discussion. He can, he's controlling government.
And he said, I'm going to build a world government to depopulate.
And
you just showed the Wall Street Journal. I agree. You're right. He's the Antichrist, basically.
He sure seems to be. If there's someone behind him, I don't know who that is. And I don't know who he does. He looks like he's, off the chain, but no one likes him. I mean, this is the brilliance, really. No matter where he goes,
everyone gets it.
Everyone seems to get it.
Africa literally, they said no one in African history, Africa literally hates Bill Gates. They get it.
Yeah, well, they've been poisoned by him long enough, and they're just finally saying to the world, now that your cameras are on us, now that you want to send your test vaccines into our country again, well, thank God for the first time in history, phase 1 trials are under a microscope because of the arrogance of these drug companies saying, we're going to get a vaccine, and we're going to destroy your life until we get one. All right, well, let's watch that. This is the part of the drug, creating process we've never seen. We've never watched the phase 1 trials. This is where they kill.
You might get some new company in here, and I welcome
children all over the place, and they don't tell us it ever happened. Well, now every camera is poised because of the work that you and we are putting the focus on this right now.
We know what happened. Last December, they had the UN meeting 2 days in Switzerland. Their own scientists said the doctors are wobbly, we're hurting people, there's no testing.
Yep.
They were having a soul. They doubled down with this big crisis.
That's it.
I think this blows up in their face.
I think it's blowing up in their face, and I think this week it came to a head like we've never seen. I'm calling it the cyber attack on truth. You had Silicon Valley just shut down. Silicon Valley just shut down.
Heather, thank you for liking the stream.
I know you were talking about this earlier.
Always happy to see a zombie.
Such a shocking event.
It's not Alex Jones you lied about. It's not an asshole like David Duke who we don't like, but he has a speech. It's doctors aren't allowed to speak now.
Your front-line doctors that are treating people with their own hands, risking their
Listen
own
to this,
to
people.
Give them a drug
Understand
that
what's
obviously
happening.
Is controversial around the world, and then finally stepping up and admitting to the world on camera, I'm putting my license on the line to tell you you, even though I know Fauci never liked this drug, has been pushing against it, and the FDA has been making it hard to get to.
And who made Fauci this god? It's so evil.
A man who hasn't touched a patient in 40 years. Why are we listening to this guy? I want to listen to people that are looking into the eyes of human beings that are going to live or die by the choices they're making. And they're living. Yeah. And they're standing there saying, all of my patients are living right now. You can be saved.
Hell yeah,
if
Heather,
you're a
I like
hospital,
it.
if you have
Thank
a
you.
relative, and they're not. Here's the thing. They don't have a treatment. It's
I
not
love
like
the
you
likes.
like this
I love
other
the
treatment.
comments.
It's
I love the
literally no
interaction.
treatment
I love
or
the
hydroxychloroquine.
shares. But mostly, I love what we're doing right now, which is we're all paying attention.
He looks scared as hell on TV now.
He better be because we're coming after him.
People
It's
need to
over.
hear
Whoever
conversations
now,
like
he
this
is
because
working
these
for,
people
I
know what
believe,
they're
Bill
talking
Gates
about.
and other people like him.
Oh, he's
He's
on
just
Bill.
a puppet. He's out there, and they're putting him on the line. And
Jay
he
Jakes
is going
with
to
a
go
zombie.
down. And it will not be pretty. This man needs
Thank
to be
you, Jay.
arrested. And simply because then we need to get him on the stand and say, hey, you want to mitigate your sentence? Go ahead and start telling us what Bill Gates has been up to. You're on the inside.
But that's how psychos work. When they start getting caught, like when the cops are after a psycho that might kill one person a year, they'll kill 5 in a day. And they get disorganized. And that's what they're doing, is they're like doubling down and going crazy.
You know, I met an Israeli professor that investigates crime scenarios, and he teaches, the military there. And he says it's called a crime cyclone, that it starts out as just a lie to cover up a problem, but then someone hears the lie, then the lie breaks, you got to kill somebody, and now you find yourself, in this murder spree because all it started out with a singular lie. It's out of control, and that's where they're at. They are now out of control. They're going to try and kill, destroy, shut down websites, shut down YouTube. They don't care, but it's too late. They're too deep in. They can't stop this crime spree trying to cover up what is one of the greatest, most tragic mistakes. I think it started out as a mistake in many ways. I think Bill Gates took it beyond a mistake and said, I don't care. We're pushing forward.
And that's why he was like hissing on TV and giggling. Because psychos do that when they got you chained down. We're not chained down, asshole.
Right.
We see you.
Right.
He's doing a little celebration like he's Ted Bundy and we're chained down in the basement. Dude, we ain't chained down.
We aren't chained down, no. And we don't have Stockholm Syndrome either. You know what I mean? We're not falling in love with our oppressor. That's what they keep hoping for. That they just keep, telling us the same lies over and over. You need us. You can't live without us. That somehow...
By the way, this is the most powerful radio I've done in 26 years. It's the time we're in, though.
It is.
Now, you're on fire, brother.
Right, man.
So what's coming next?
What's coming next, I think, is we are going to see these social media companies falling apart. I mean, they're already turning on half the country.
Oh, they're scared.
When you come from media, when I worked on CBS, it was a medical talk show I worked on. You never want anything to sound Republican or Democrat because you just lost half the country when you do that.
I've been on there 20. Houston, the media was pretty fair, actually.
Right.
They were caring producers. Now they're like demons.
Well, because you can't lose millions and millions of viewers. It's all about money. And now they're making choices where they're isolating, they're driving conservatives into this vaccine discussion, into the chloroquine discussion, into medical discussion. They're making it two sides, but in many ways, when I started this, there was like 10, 15% of us that were really starting to question vaccines. Well, now that they're saying, well, conservatives are jumping on board with this thing, you just gave us 50% of America. Now 50%, wait a minute. I'm
That's the
part
thing
of
about the globals. They have the power, but they don't have the smarts.
They sure do not have the smarts. They are not. We've got to stop giving them credit for being these brilliant thinkers. They're like third graders. It's like watching schoolgirls fight over a doll right now, and in the end, they're going to tear the arms off of both of it. No one's going to get the doll, and someone's going to step forward with the truth.
That's what actually frightens me, though, is, Gates comes out and says, I don't want you to have a digital tattoo, and there's 100 articles that day where his company's pushing it.
Right.
And people go look at that, and they go, Microsoft's front page says, I get a digital tattoo to travel. He says it's not true.
Right. You're on camera. We can rewind now. This is, we didn't get this message by the Pony Express. We can't say that it was written by somebody else. You are on camera saying these things, a history of you saying these things. How many times has Bill Gates said, I want to reduce the population? And yet they say Del Bigtree spreads misinformation by saying there's a depopulation
And now
agenda.
he wants to put something in my body.
Agenda.
I agree. I'm telling you, that's what they say, as you said, the criminology. Psychos at the end destroy themselves.
They do. And that's what we're watching right now in many ways. And you got to feed them, right? Just keep feeding them energy right now. Go ahead. That's why I love it. You're fighting me. You're going to take me on. Let's do it.
No, I agree. That's why I prod them and attack them.
That's right. That's right. Make them swing even wilder. It's like that. You want a bully. Just make them swing wilder.
Leadership, attacks, everything. Seeing you stronger is an archetype And I would say we're kindred spirits, but it's a spirit of resistance and pro-human awakening. So in the next 4 minutes of the short segment, before we get back into all the news, next segment, talk about your awakening, your process, because you're more alive than ever under attack. You're more successful than ever. And it's that spirit of we're not losers, we're overcomers.
Yeah. Well, and every, I had a friend that reached out and said, I'm sorry about hearing what happened with YouTube. And I had a lot of friends online that were complaining. He says, I've known Del for a really long time. And I want to tell you, I have never seen a problem that he's come up against that didn't make him bigger and stronger. It always works in his favor. And it's true, but that's how you deal with the world, right? You use I believe in using the energy that comes at you. You don't run from it. It's empowering to have that energy.
When Count Dooku attacks Yoda, he just grabs the power.
That's right. But I want to take this moment really quick to get off of just me really in general, because you know what's important? It's how we raise our children. And when people ask me, where does this start for you? For me, it goes back to how I was raised. My parents taught me to question authority from the beginning. They said the most important, voice was my own, my instincts. And I want to tell you a quick story. I was in third grade in Boulder, Colorado. I would walk to school every day with my sister. It was about 4 blocks away. I came back for lunch with my sister, and I walked through the door, and my mom said, what happened to your T-shirt? I had walked out the door in a T-shirt I made in art class that spelled my gymnastics team across it, the Flyers. And she said, what happened to your T-shirt? And I said, well, Craig said it looked stupid, and he lives right next door to the school, so I just borrowed a T-shirt from him. My mom pulled me out of school the next day, Alex, and I was homeschooled after that. She said, I will never raise children that care what somebody else thinks. You like that shirt, you believed in what you're doing, you're going to believe in who you are and what you are, and that's what makes me who I am today. That's how I persevere, and if we don't take parenting that seriously, then we are just making drones that will do whatever they're told.
Exactly.
Yes.
Gates admits he wants robots. We want individual souls.
That's it.
You can't care what other people think about you.
Own gift God gave them.
I could give a fuck less, I promise
out there that say, I want to see change in the world. Your children are that change. You cannot fasten that job. And if you're just going to have a nanny raise them and drop them off at school and pick them up and you're going to focus on your career, then don't have kids.
Yeah, the TV's raising them.
That's right. We can't have that.
Because that of the child is a holy act.
That's right. Your kids should be inspired to be difference makers in this world. They should recognize that they're given a power inside of them that cannot be snuffed out. They are not a part of a herd. They are not a part of a
fuck robots. I agree.
You were at CBS. You
Independent
won
thought.
Awards, Grammys, Emmys, whatever.
Yeah.
The point is, when did you ignite like this? What happened? It was just the process?
Well, it was simply getting out in front of the camera. I was writing for
Joshua
Dr. Phil,
Pilardi still hanging.
Doctors
Good shit, my
show,
man.
Travis
Watching Alex
Stork and all
Jones.
these doctors.
Thank
I
all you
enjoyed
guys
that
for
process.
hanging out tonight. I
complain
appreciate it.
No, I didn't want it said that way. Well, once Vax came out, all of a sudden that put me out in front of the camera because
I just want to say to everybody, we've all been chilling, watching Alex Jones for a while. This is dope. I'm genuinely enjoying your company tonight. I appreciate it. You guys make it so I'm not depressed on the weekends, which I was for a while. So this is amazing. I'm very happy you guys are joining me tonight, and we're all doing my favorite thing in the world, which is learning, and we're listening to people have conversations that they're not supposed to have because it's not groupthink.
Andy Wakefield, we decided they're just going to
attack you, and that unleashed you.
And that unleashed me. They attacked me, but I had the facts,
Joshua
right?
Pilardi, I'm just hoping you turn this up and switch the point up. Yeah, that won't happen.
Don't they get that
0% chance on that.
Are going to make men and women that were never trying not to be arrogant, we're holding back? Don't they realize the power they're unleashing?
No, that's the genius, right? The genius is they still do not understand that attacking is power. That every time I'm attacked, you give me more publicity. They have not wrapped their head around it. That's how Donald Trump won the election.
They're so arrogant.
They're so arrogant, and they're so filled with anger and rage that it blinds them to what they're doing. They're giving me free advertising
What Josh said,
by kicking me off of YouTube.
We love you. Thank you, Heather.
Social media is blowing up with my name right now because, oh my God, I had so many people tune into my show yesterday, and I was reading this saying, who is this guy? I never heard of him, but everyone said he'd been cut from the internet. I didn't know he was here in the last
You're very charismatic and smart, so I mean, they just really screwed up.
They really screwed up because from the beginning, from Vaxxed, I've been using censorship as a power tool, and they just
It's good to know there's more men in the fight, brother. The next hour is 60 seconds. Yes, producer Ed Dale Bigtree for now at Twitter.
Black
You can go to
Cornell.
highwire.com.
Actually, my Twitter's not good up right now either. They're asking me to take down 5 of my last tweets saying, admit that these were.
I was about to say, I bet they ban you there now.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm locked up and I'm really having a problem. Like, am I really
Like Don
gonna
Jr.,
take
he's
these
not
tweets
allowed to show
down?
a doctor's press conference.
Unbelievable, right? Doctors speaking in front, like out in open space with
In America.
in America.
So go to highwire, thehighwire.com.
Yes.
And I don't just tell listeners this. You know how key it is? Like, people come to me all the street. They go, I used to love you. I wish you were still on air again. I'm
I
I'm
like
on
it.
tour
I like
radio
sitting
stations.
up, 'cause
got
I feel like you
Infowars.com,
can't hear me when I sit
video.
back.
And they're like, oh, yeah, actually.
How do
yeah,
I sound
see,
from here?
There's things
You can't
outside
hear me
Twitter
as
and
good.
Facebook, but we got to get people ready for that.
We do. We've got to start making people migrate or helping them migrate. I'm hoping that there's more, social media platforms that
Sleep
start being
over
built
tonight,
by
son.
people that don't
It's an
believe in
all-nighter, and I
censorship.
thank
Maybe
y'all for
aren't
sleeping
in it
over
just
with
for
me.
the cash cow.
The
control.
dopeness this
Because that's
is
what's
cannot
happening.
be
As soon as you bring in
described.
sponsors,
And we're
as soon as
going
you get
all night. It's
outside
still
input,
early.
Then it starts changing everything you believe.
I
in.
gotta go at
This is-
least
this is-
past
this is a
2
true
o'clock.
story. 5 years ago, they had, and I had to sign a disclosure, so I'm going to get into all of it, but they had Facebook major representative reach out, and they go, listen, we just want you to come to New York, meet with some people, and we want you to kind of work with us, and they said, watch what happens when you do your next live feed. I was getting like 200,000, 300,000 feeds on Facebook. It was like 5 million in 1 minute. And they're like, you like that? But then I still came out and attacked. So imagine that currency they got to buy people with that fame.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And a lot of people are vulnerable to that. To me, I'm all about the truth.
Because what does it matter if there's 5 million viewers and you're saying BS?
Right, that's it.
Then it's worthless.
That's what I was doing in television.
2 a.m.
in many ways,
Savage.
and that's
Where's the
why
live
I'm really
hotline?
excited
We
with
got to
my
figure
show.
that out.
I
Maybe
brought
next
over
time
2
I do an
producers I
all-nighter.
work with on CBS.
I like
One is my
that.
executive
The
producer.
hotline. Maybe
Another
for
one I
just
send out
every
to
time I
field.
go live, I
We're
need a
all
hotline.
living a dream, right? We're doing what we could never do in television, in the internet space.
So, folks, even in old line television, all these producers, all these executives, everything you write's being looked at.
Yeah.
What's it like to be your own self now?
I can't tell you how exciting it is. And I have to say, getting cut free of YouTube, I think in some ways...
I didn't listen
like
to it,
that
but
was
it looked like a
shackle
guy
that we didn't
just
realize how much
talking,
we were paying
20-minute
attention
live
to.
stream.
And so now we're really free. Now
We'll give him a
we're
chance in a
really
bit.
in trouble. Now
We
we
got
can
all
say
night.
whatever I want. Not that I ever would. I've never...
You do seem even more energetic.
I am energized, man. I am pumped up because I think... And the reason is...
Nothing like somebody punching you in the nose.
I think, well, and especially when you're looking at what just punched in the nose and they just got lucky and they're dizzy and you realize, oh my God, I'm about to knock this dude out. I've got this. I got a little stinger.
Look at the
but,
Zoom,
oh my
bro. The
God,
ability to
I've got
pull
him on the
people
ropes.
in and out is actually
I
pretty
think
sweet.
that this establishment, this dark control of people, this cabal between Silicon Valley and pharma.
The problem I'm
I think it's on
having,
its last
Josh,
legs. They are
is using my
You're
camera
a confidence
and my
smart guy, you were already
microphone
happy with
in
life.
2
Now
different
you found your
places.
purpose.
I have.
You're actually
and
facing
being
that
able to
evil.
switch
That's right.
between
I
it
think
and
people
having
don't
it
get it. I
not
think like
function
fighting
properly.
evils is a bad thing. It's energizing. Like the perception opens up, the discernment. What is it like? Have you experienced that? Like all of a sudden your brain works better?
It's incredible. In fact, that's what this whole experience has been. I never really thought of myself as that smart a person. I did okay in school. I got through, but now everything sticks. The medical points and the names and the things, it just flows through you, and you realize, man, I've been in the zone. I feel like I've been in the zone for about 4 years since Vax came out, and then every time
That's what
something
people
like
they
this
don't
happens-
get. Like they persecute me and they go, "We're
You could theoretically use the Zoom app with your image in lieu of your actual face cam. Just use a screen capture source showing your Zoom
The
window.
worse it gets, the closer I. It's incredible.
Yeah, they say, well, thank you for your sacrifice. I'm like, sacrifice? I'm in the best
But you're
time of
saying-
my life.
'cause I think
could
there's a
only
way
wish
to
what
turn
my life feels like right now
the
upon
feed, the
everybody
stream,
out there,
into
to
a
actually
webcam.
Find your purpose, to wake up in the morning. I used to
Well,
sleep
you're
until
standing
like
against the
noon.
extermination.
I'm not against it, Josh.
Well, that's-
If
You're
I'm
very
about it in the
genetics are saying,
morning,
good
I'll do
job,
that.
Dale Bigtree.
That's right.
Your very ancestors are like, yes.
Yes, I feel it. You can feel it coming through us, right? And I think many of us alive right now, I think there's a reason we're here right now. I think that DNA is flowing through us. We are being called upon. Stop hiding from it. That's why you're in fear.
Give
You're
in to
hiding.
your ancestors.
That's it. Give in to your inevitability. You have a purpose on this planet. And if you lock in with that, man, you're wired. There's nothing that can shut you down.
Isn't it like your whole life? It's women, money, power. None of it does it. When you click into the genetic force of the future, it's like, whoa. It's like, I want everybody to have this feeling.
You're explaining as well as I've been trying to get it across to people. there's also something else that happened. You know, it was stepping into Vaxxed. I knew I was destroying everything I built.
All your contacts,
everything was going to go away. Everything was going to go away.
And it was that plunge.
But it was the easiest decision I've ever made. I've never been so clear that you are about to step on the road that you've been looking for your whole life. And the moment I did,
All right, guys. You know what? You fucking called it. I'm going to go right now while we're watching this, just so you understand what I'm doing. I'm going to pull up Zoom, and I might go into options, and I might release a room code and see if I can get this to do what I want it to do. So I'm going in experiment mode. Let me check it out.
Some of that, like, foresight, like, which is a lot of fear. Like, where's this going? How's it going to build out? What's it going?
I'm still listening to Homeboy,
though. Instant moment. And it's like somebody else is moving my feet. Somebody else is speaking the words. I'm just here as a vessel, and I have to tell you, at that moment, you're fearless. There's nothing that can stop you. Every day is a celebration of life, and I don't care how long I'm on this planet. I just want to know that I get to experience it the way I'm experiencing it now, as long as God willing.
And so let's talk about the info the enemy doesn't want to be known about what's really in these vaccines, the data, trials. To tell people what the enemy doesn't want to hear.
Well, I mean, so here's the deal. These vaccines are extremely, extremely dangerous. Only, 0.26% of people should even be considering this vaccine. They're the only ones that are risking death. What you have to recognize is 99.74% of us are not dying from this. And most of us have got to take a test just to find out we have it because we have no symptoms. And I want you to watch this. They're slowly backing away from what I've been calling the vaccine unicorn. We're going to find the unicorn. This is now a chihuahua with a ice cream cone glued to its head because the FDA is saying we will accept a 50% success rate now with a vaccine that we bring forward, which is absolutely useless. Here's what I want you to know. Your own immune system is beating any vaccine or drug that we have ever seen. We have never seen any drug on this planet. And we said to them, if vaccines are so great, why don't you just do a comparative study? You're sitting on a database of 10 million people, tens of thousands of unvaccinated people. Just compare them. Have the vaccinated and the unvaccinated, and ask simple questions. Who has more cancer? Who has more diabetes? Who has more ADD, ADHD? Who has more autism or other neurological disorders? And you know what they said? We can't figure out a way to do that study. Wait a minute. I'm sitting at the National Institute of Health. This is the thought leaders of science in the world, and you can't figure out how to compare two groups. And you know what they basically admitted? They said, we don't know how to isolate the co-founding issues because people who don't vaccinate don't live the same life as others. There are other issues that get in the way of their lifestyle choices, meaning people that don't vaccinate also probably aren't standing in airport scanners every time they go into an airport. They're probably not drinking fluoridated water. They're definitely not eating Doritos every day and drinking Coca-Cola, like it's going out of style. And so that's what they're saying to you. What they're saying is, we've already done the study. And no matter how we look at anti-vaxxers, they're healthier than those that are vaccinating, but we know
it's like Amish don't have autism.
Right, so since I have a health...
These therapeutics that are incredibly effective against COVID-19 being banned. So it's not the KKK being banned. I don't like the KKK, but I say don't ban them because next will be me. Right. Well, then it was me. And now it's medical doctors. I mean, this is so cut and dry, and I think they've really jumped the shark.
Well, they have. You know what's amazing about that? When you said that is, you now have thousands of doctors and scientists that are being sidelined, right? They're being called liars. And this is exactly what happened to Dr. Andy Wakefield. It's the heart of Vaxxed. I mean, this scientist...
Talk about Vaxxed. Has he not been vindicated? Wow.
I believe that he has been vindicated. I know that history will look back and say we lost one of the greatest scientists of our time. By the way, he just put out a great film.
I think this is working.
1986, The Act, which talks about how they took liability away from the vaccines. So we had this great scientist in the UK
right now
that had his career...
Oh, yeah. This is working. I don't even need the test, you guys. The mic is working. The video's working. So I can make an outgoing call while I'm on the air. I just haven't integrated
their HHS or their Tony Fauci went after a doctor that was saying, I'm seeing some sort of connection between this MMR vaccine and injury in children. Well, doctors all around the world say,
at least I've established I can do that far.
I bet you could grab the 12 people that stood up in front of the Supreme Court and say, oh yeah, that Andy Wakefield guy, he was fraudulent. But they don't recognize that's what they're doing to you. This is what they do. It is so easy to do it. If they own the television, if they on the
20 years
universities.
later, all the
I'm out of
science
the meeting
proves
now.
it's gut flora and issues with vaccines and autoimmune.
The man was way ahead of his time. You never heard of gut flora, and he had done 170 studies that were published in
Sounds
in
terrible,
journals on
probably.
Crohn's disease, gut flora, talking about how your gut flora does appear to be
He
affecting your
said
brain.
it, not to take credit away, he said the mothers told them when they have diarrhea, when they're having Crohn's,
Yeah.
that's when they're mental. And then he found out about the connection.
Well, that was what was amazing about that study that he's famous for. That was apparently debunked. Total lie. How it was debunked is outrageous. But that's what they saw. When they had these 12 kids that were in this study, they were autistic. Their parents were saying their autism started right after they developed this gut disease that happened right after the vaccinations. Well, when they would clear their intestines out, right, they were going to do colonoscopies and things to find out what is this gut illness. That's what the parents were bringing their children forward.
It's like you drink alcohol, you get high.
Right.
There was a poison.
They would clear them out for the day before they were going to get the colonoscopy, and all of a sudden, all the repetitive motions would disappear in the kids. Why was it affecting, their what was supposed to be a psychological problem? Why is cleaning out their intestinal system making their mannerisms and these associations to autism disappear? It was one of the greatest discoveries of all times. And what did we do? We just destroyed it. The medical establishment said, "Oh, we can't have, any."
And now Gates has gone in and bought the whole field.
That's it. Bought the whole field. Is running it, every side of it. The testing side of it. The vaccinating side of it. The tracking side of it. The cyber side of it. All of it is being controlled. I mean, these are scary, scary times. But the point I want to make is when we look at this, and this is going to be hard, I think, for some of your listeners. It is for mine too. But the point is who's at risk of COVID-19? It's the pharmaceutically dependent people. That's who it is. It's not that you're over the age of 65. It's that you're over the age of 65 with comorbidities like heart disease, COPD. You shouldn't have been smoking those cigarettes your whole life. I'm sorry. But it's a free country. You said, I want to live in the moment. I want to drink as much as I want to, alcohol. I want to smoke cigarettes. I want to eat McDonald's. And guess what? It's a free country. But now that you're sick and now that you're on drugs to keep you alive, you're not allowed to say that it's my responsibility to change the way I live so that I can protect you. You know what? You're in a bubble. You need to be in a bubble. You put yourself in that bubble. But when we heard the story of the boy in the bubble that we grew up with, it was one kid in a bubble. We felt bad for him. He had autoimmune disease. Well, now he's the only one out of the bubble. The rest of us have got to wear a bubble, and that is not cool.
Exactly. He's in the bubble, so we got to be a bubble.
Right. We all got to be in a bubble. No, I'm sorry. Whatever happened to you, whatever was
What
going
he's
on
saying
with
makes
you,
a lot of
That's
sense,
what
though.
It's like 60% of births now, I was reading in Austin, it's like 50% nationwide are cesarean. And they induce the delivery. The cervix doesn't soften. Then they've got to do the thing. They're making everything artificial. Everything is artificial.
And they skip the entire biome process, right? Birth, we know all of that bacteria, all that natural bacteria that's going to protect the skin, that they're going to drink in and breathe in and creates their gut biome.
They're getting all their mother's immunity.
It's not there. They're not getting any of the mother's immunity. And the mother's not having that interaction. She's not triggering, her own, connection and systems with the child. We have postpartum depression like we've never seen because we're not having that last handoff moment, where these two souls that were bound together, separate
It's
out.
a spiritual moment.
It is a spiritual
It's a
moment.
big deal.
And we're taking the spiritual moment away, and
That binding.
And this is the foolhardiness of modern medicine, right? It's going to just
But
fix
it
everything.
knows what it's doing. It's taking control
That's
of the process.
fucked.
Well, that's where you
That's
and I might
fucked.
differ. Maybe I don't give them that much
I
credit.
don't think the average doctor knows, but up at the level,
There are probably some really sick individuals, a couple of them at the top that know what's going on. Most doctors,
but you just
really
said,
mean
it's a
well.
big spiritual moment when a mother gives birth.
That's right.
And that whole moment and that thing is like a connection.
We
I have a
had
question.
midwives when
I
we were
always
giving birth
thought
to
if
our
we
children,
threatened
and the midwives would talk about the times that they have to transport to a hospital. There are
Something of
the
service
doctors
that you were
calling
always
all the new doctors and
arrested
say, come
in.
watch
The
this.
President of the
There's going to be a
United
natural childbirth as though it's not, literally they hadn't seen one.
Yeah,
incredible.
technically
Everything
before
around
Trump.
Oh my God.
But he would have been an
Like
authoritarian if he locked
like
people
aliens
up.
watching a
So
woman
he
give
couldn't
birth.
do it.
Like, we've never seen
It's
anything
a
like
power
this.
grab.
That's
He
how
could,
bad it is.
maybe. I don't know.
Nobody's
Saying is-
naturally giving birth.
I don't know, that's
There'll
a
be
good
a moment
question.
they say, it's a conspiracy that women never breastfed. Because they try to keep the kid away for a day.
That's it.
I don't know.
Doesn't
Alex
come in.
Jones
I mean,
said some
it's
pretty
all
crazy shit
scientific.
about
And
Obama,
then
though.
remember
Painted
we
his
had
face
animals.
up like
The
the
brain
Joker
ends up
and
being
shit.
bigger if you get the milk your
Great
mother had
old
for you,
video.
Well,
which isn't just protein and fat. It's literally all of her immunity and all of her
enzymes that do not exist on this planet anywhere else.
That totally trigger the brain.
And that change depending on where the kid is at. When a kid is sick, do you know that the mother's milk changes to deal with that illness? There's nothing like it on the planet.
And they can't deal with that science. That's
no. And by again, it's and you are making.
And you want to maybe kids that weren't breastfed, but it's known the brain's a third smaller on average. It doesn't have the connections, and that's why they're zombified. They literally didn't get. What do you think women got these for? Why we love them? That's like the future of humanity's in those breasts.
Right. Well, and this is the problem. I get it. Some mothers can't.
We're not judging them.
And I'm not judging you.
But trying to keep kids away from that.
And that's where science is great, right? Science is great. It figures out a way to create a formula that for those of you that
can't.
God fucking bless the breasts.
Right. But that's supposed to be for a small percentage of us. Like every drug, everything you do, science is only good for a few people, but it's when, hey, we're just not making enough money. Let's get everybody to stop breastfeeding.
Everybody, give me a shout out. Who's still here? Throw a yo in the chat, wherever you want.
They're forcing you so you use the product.
They're taking healthy people and putting them on a regimen they don't need. That's what vaccinations are doing.
You know, we got Josh, Heather,
people don't
maybe
die
Rami.
From measles. Healthy people don't die from polio. Healthy people don't die from these things. In fact,
I only get sick like once every 5 years.
That's right, because obviously you take care of yourself. And they'll say, it's practically illegal to make that point now, right? No doctor, right? Think about how crazy this is. And you know
when I get sick, it's like I'm at the RNC, I'm up for 3 days.
I'm
drinking a bunch, and I'm drinking tons of caffeine, and then I get sick.
Rami's under my desk. I like it.
Every time I push myself way out past
you have your adrenaline going and going and going. You're not eating right. You're skipping meals. You're missing your vitamins. You're drinking crappy water. And the next thing you know, you pay the price. I think about people live like that every day, though. When I see these people, when I watch these grocery carts, and here's the thing, right? They're trying to say that TheHighWire.com. Well, let's talk about Bill Gates and his agenda and what he's doing and where you see all this going. Well, I think that there's an agenda to forcibly inject every single human on this planet. That's what he's already said. They want 7.5 billion people being vaccinated. This is what the World Health Organization met back in December to how to stop vaccine hesitancy, because our goal is to have everybody vaccinated. Why do they have to vaccinate everybody? Because the vaccine program failed. You have to understand, when they started the vaccine program, the idea was you could get a vaccine to do what nature did. When you catch a virus, you have lifelong immunity. Well, let's make money off of that process and control it.
I don't know, because I can't figure out how to. Oh, no.
Within 5 years, they recognize
the labels at the top are supposed to do a notification when someone adds the stream, donates, shares, or likes, but they don't work, and I don't know how to make them work.
MMR vaccine by the time they go into college.
I was happy with what I had, and I stopped.
Vaccines. I'm just talking about measles.
Now I have
as adults. We're talking about 5 MMRs. You're already getting 5 DTaP vaccines by the time you're 18 years old. So these things are wearing off, and so this.
And they're now saying 5 for old people for COVID.
Correct. And here's the issue: everything that everyone's been vaccinated for is wearing off, and all of the outbreaks. It's not the anti-vaxxers; it's the people who were vaccinated who now have no immune system. The vaccine is worn off.
You're not lying. The studies show it's the vaxxed that are getting sick.
The vaxxed are getting sick. They're the ones catching it.
No immune system.
Even worse, because there's been vaccinations out there, just like
so
antibiotics.
They're trying to prop up their collapsing house of cards.
That's it. It's falling apart. It's falling apart, and the only thing they need to do is inject you more. We just got to keep injecting them. We'll figure, and this is it. It's like they're like rats on a sinking ship. You know, the problem is that they're
true. I guess I could.
We
right?
don't know how to fix the problem. Polio is now running rampant in many countries, caused by the vaccine.
And so they call it polio-like.
Polio-like, but they're not even doing that. CDC is admitting it's vaccine strain polio that's running.
No, in the fine print they admit it's vaccine.
Scary.
So how the hell are they giving you polio?
We are not being vaccinated for the strain.
My grandmother died at 92 3 years ago. And I remember she told me, she said, no, my doctor told me the second round of shots, I was given it. She was like, I'm tough, it's okay. She was paralyzed.
I can only get rid of the symbols. I can't get rid of the bars, unfortunately.
That's right. They used to admit it. Right, and we used to say it is a casualty. It's a side effect. You hear Bill Gates say, 10,000 or 10 million people, whatever his number is, will get
possibilities are almost limitless, bro. Not on this team. Also, that zombie, you can actually change the zombie to any gift that you want.
This tiny little
it can even be a small video clip sound
none of us even have
I gotta change it to Hulk Hogan. With the beginning of I Am a Real American.
Everybody's getting sick.
And a gif of him ripping his shirt off.
I was about to ask, what are they thinking where it says
See, I need to learn
100% got sick, 20% went to hospital, 80% got super ill? What the heck? Why would you do this? Inject everyone.
I know how to
knowing
do
they're gonna get
this.
sick and you're the villain.
I know
You're
how to
gonna make
talk,
100%
and I know
of people
how
sick
to
with the vaccine
bring you to
when
the
only
right
0.2%,
information.
6%
That's what I know
have
how
a
to do.
problem with the virus.
Does Bill Gates have a death wish?
You know,
Or he's just arrogant?
I think that he is blind, and it's really, it gets to a spiritual story, right? I think back to the creation story, and God says, hey, just don't eat of the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. And as a kid, I didn't really understand that. When I look at Bill Gates, this is the problem, right? You have this beautiful world. I've got it all figured out. We got the bacteria and virus. You've been working in concert. Everything's working perfectly. But then man thinks, oh no, I'm smarter than God, right? I'm smarter than all this. I can start eliminating a bacteria. I can eradicate a virus inside
All
your
of the
body.
things
Even
like
though there's
alerts and
billions,
customize
bottom
the
line is,
options.
don't
It's right
play
there
God
when
inside
you
of
click
you.
on Edit
Don't play
Streamlabs.
God. And once you
Brian.
start playing God, where do you stop? Well, you have to double down. Once there's a problem, oh, I'm the only one that can fix the problem because God didn't make this problem. Man made this problem. And so now we're in a position where vaccines are what are destroying herd immunity. Let me be perfectly clear. The
Well, we can
only
go over this
thing
tomorrow
vaccines
then,
have
Josh,
ever
if that's what you want to
achieved
do.
is destroying herd immunity. It never
Explain that.
created it. It destroyed
Explain that.
herd
Yes,
immunity.
that's true.
Because we had herd immunity. No one was dying from measles by the time the vaccine came along.
Rami,
In
you can help me.
1961,
That's you,
the
not
death
Josh.
rate of
I didn't
measles
have it
in
on full
America was
screen.
1 out of 500,000 Americans. That's 0.0000, like after the decimal point. But then the vaccine came along. There were things that we had. No baby, even in an outbreak, ever died from measles because they couldn't get it. Why? Because mothers that had gotten measles as kids held on to lifelong immunity, but passed it on to the child once they were born. Now that we're
Explain.
vaccinated,
The first 3 weeks of milk has all the immunity.
I don't even think you have to breastfeed. It is literally placenta driven that you have the immunity given over. The breastfeeding takes a year and a half of natural immunity and maybe extends it to 2 or 3 years.
What do they call it? Colostrum?
The colostrum, huge. I mean, it's huge in the health of the baby.
As if our mother isn't better than Bill Gates.
Right.
It's a human. It's us.
It's an attack on women, really, right? This entire thing is the most
That's how
shocking.
lazy women are.
I mean, and I was once a liberal most of my life, but for a group to say, oh, I'm with her and women first, my body, my choice. They hate women. They hate the intuitive
And the
instincts
power.
inside of women, the power of women, the ability to heal and feed and give birth and give life. Bill Gates wants to be that woman. He wants that power. He wants to create life. He wants to control life. He wants to manipulate life. He wants to affect population size and the planet Earth. He wants to affect how we farm, how we grow things, how we poison things.
He wants
things.
he wants to be our God.
He does. He's got a God complex.
You're on fire,
you know?
Big Tree. You're absolutely right. So, what do you predict coming in the future? Because there is a global awakening.
I believe that we are going to see all of this fall. I think Bill Gates is going to fall. I think out in the future,
Yes.
he will be tried for treason, and rightfully so. This man is an American citizen that worked with foreign agents. And when I got pulled, off of YouTube, they put up things like, the WHO. We respond to what the WHO is not. That's not even a government agency. That's a
When
foreign
does the
agency.
UN say
Right.
medical doctors and major Emmy award-winning filmmakers at CBS don't have speech?
Right.
Think about it.
I'm
We're
not allowed
under
to-
UN control.
I am not allowed to question the pharmaceutical industry that has paid out hundreds of billions of dollars for murdering innocent people, whether it's the Sackler family and Johnson & Johnson with the OxyContin epidemic. Johnson & Johnson has a vaccine in this game. They are rushing a vaccine that killed animals in trials. They lied to us about OxyContin that is now getting 60, 70,000 people killed every year, that the FDA was behind, CDC. They
want to just normalize killing us.
They want to normalize it. They don't want any responsibility. We can be wrong. We can get you killed. We can say that talcum powder was safe your whole lives. Now we know it was asbestos. We're sprinkling asbestos on our naked babies because Johnson & Johnson cared about
That
us
was all
and our
on
children.
purpose.
All of these people.
Because for them,
Merck,
it's a sick joke.
Pfizer, it's all about money. We see when we can sue, right? When you can actually sue the manufacturers, which you can't with vaccines, you get to see their internal emails where they're laughing about the people that are going to die. And they point to the bottom line.
It's like Bayer with the blood, the factor VIII. They said, screw these hemophiliacs. So what have they done?
So what? We know they're going to die, but we'll make so much money anyway.
Why would
What's
you
that
write
lawsuit
it?
going to cost us?
Why would you write it in corporate minutes?
Arrogance, right? I mean, and that's it. That's what darkness is. If once you're God, what are you afraid of? We got nothing. I can write whatever I want. I'm God, right? Well, that's why they're going to fall.
Jesus Christ.
That's why they make the mistakes that they do. And that's why no one can stand that man, right? Bill Gates literally, think about what he thought the plan was. There was a couple of weeks ago.
I think all of the people Obama gave medals to are all pedophiles. I wouldn't doubt it.
I'm sure he's funding them. He's literally paying for people to be forced to be in his party.
I wouldn't doubt they're all satanic pedophiles.
And the family just buys his friends.
He's buying the liquor to
bought
the
his
party.
way into television stations across the country. And Ellen's feed, on social media that had the video up had so much negativity they had to take it down. People hate Bill Gates, which you have to recognize that if that was part of the plan, I'm going to be the ruling dictator and everyone's going to love me and they're going to just do whatever I say.
Isn't that the beauty that humanity's rejecting?
And that's where we have got to stay confident. You have to recognize that even the people that are wearing masks that, deep down hate it, inside of them, their blood is boiling about it. Something's really wrong. And now this jerk, Fauci's going to make me wear goggles? I mean, are we serious?
Wow, Del Big
Goggles
is on.
next.
This guy's totally on fire. But I got so many articles here. Ohio abandons its hydroxychloroquine ban after public outrage.
Yeah.
That is such a big victory that they're firing doctors, they're persecuting them, they're censoring them. But the fact it's an approved drug and has an incredible success rate, the fact that they're trying to create this fear and it's blow up in his face, that's a major positive.
It's really major, and it just shows, how the people, we've got to recognize how powerful we are, right? All of these, when they took down those videos, that's one thing. There's 17 million views of the doctors that stood in front of the Supreme Court, but that's not what blew my mind. The next morning when I woke up Tuesday morning, my Facebook feed was nothing but that video. People stepping forward saying, you saw them getting warnings.
And for listeners who just joined us, explain.
Yeah.
There were like a bunch of doctors getting
So you had 12 doctors. It was America's Frontline Doctors Summit. In front of, it was put out by Breitbart, did the video. You had great people putting it together, but they brought a letter of 600 doctors that had signed it to get to Donald Trump. They stood in front of the Supreme Court. This doctor right here, she has healed 300 of her patients. No one died with hydroxychloroquine. They all had similar stories, telling the truth, saying we really do have a treatment. People don't need to die anymore. This death rate can be stopped right now in its tracks if we just use this brilliant treatment that's available. 17 million views on Facebook in 6 hours, and then Facebook pulled it, YouTube pulled it, Twitter pulled it. An absolute
total commitment to evil.
A total commitment to evil and admitting it, right? And then what I was saying the next morning, it was the citizens,
this is
the people
awful,
that just
Rami.
found that video
and
just started putting it up so that all I could see was thousands and thousands
we
of
have 2 million views on Band.video.
Yeah, amazing,
people
right?
have just gone crazy.
And that's the difference. You cannot stop the people. They cannot stop the truth. And what do they think? They're going to take down my
And now
YouTube
more
channel?
doctors are coming out.
More doctors are now being emboldened, saying, I'm going to stand with those doctors. And scientists all around the world, the one thing that has really shifted, Alex, and I've been at this for 5 years, discussing vaccines and health and safety around drug companies, is that they used to always say that there's the consensus of science says that vaccines are safe. The consensus of science. They have destroyed their own consensus with this. Their consensus is dead. You now have, DDR.
By the way, we don't lie. We don't say positive things that are not true. You're right. They are destroying their own consensus. This is a big deal.
They are making their own doctors not trust the FDA.
You saw the UN video December at the WHO. The head of vaccine goes, our doctors don't believe it. We're hurting people.
Right.
We don't test it. There's a cover-up.
We're covering up. We got to be more honest with our doctors. We got to do more studies we can put in their hands so that they can defend the products that they're giving, because these parents are coming more armed with more material, more understanding than the doctors.
That looks like a fake person.
Right. This is
she looks like a young person in a gray-haired wig.
We're going to keep our doctors more in the dark, and any doctor that steps forward, we're going to try and wait.
So we've reached that point, though, when psychos get caught. I want this to be positive. Yeah. This is true. We've reached the point where they're just doubling down. They're going to fail now. But what do they do to claw back power? They're going to pull something back.
Well, and think about this. They're desperate, right? I mean, we now have caged, they're cornered shrews, these tiny minds that have been trying to take over the world, and they were getting away with it for some time. Now they're doubling and tripling down. Think about it. They're willing to kill American citizens now by denying them hydroxychloroquine. What's next? I mean, you were talking about the murder of 100,000 Americans.
Nursing homes.
Right. Well, and what's that going to be? How many people are going to be sick once we get into flu season? And now they're going to push the flu vaccine, which the study on the military here in America, thousands of the military found a 38% increase in coronavirus amongst military that got the flu shot versus those that did not. Huge study out of Japan.
Well, yeah, it lowers your immunity.
It blows your immunity. We've seen this. A double-blind study out of Japan saw that the flu shot, those that got it.
Look, I'm not going to tell men what boosts your immunity, okay? But it's a family show. But I mean, this is out of control, folks.
It's out of control. And here's the point. And all I do is show published science. All I've ever done, I'm a medical journalist. I make sure I have multiple sources to anything that I've said on my show. On YouTube, they do not have a ground to stand on. I have done nothing but present scientific evidence of the points that I make. On Twitter, all I've ever done.
You have a belief that truth will win.
I
by
do.
just being documented. So I love how you're not rolling over in fear that you were censored. That's why they censored us incrementally, was to get others to be afraid and not stand up.
No, our founding fathers demanded of us. That's what Jesus Christ demanded of us. That's what, I mean, whatever religion you're in, every prophet that ever stood says, if you can't stand in your truth, then you don't deserve the kingdom of heaven, man. What are you doing here? You've been given every opportunity in the world to live in truth. You can't let other people take that away from you. And on my show, I stood in the articles against me with their bullet points of what Del Bigtree said. I said, yep, I did say that. I did say that. You're misrepresenting this. I said that. I said that. And I'm not afraid of anything. I stand and I will present evidence. I will debate anyone in the medical establishment. I will sit across from Bill Gates on CBS Live, and I will go toe-to-toe with that guy. I know you would do it too. I have known people like, how can he be so bold? Because it's the truth.
Of course,
He's
Alex
got to
Jones
make
will
up
do
lies.
it.
He's got to remember what lie goes to what lie. Tony Fauci, I mean, look at this guy, right? He's got to tell us masks work, but now all of a sudden I got to wear goggles. He just admitted, by the way, I'm being attacked where I've said I think masks are a joke. I don't think they protect you. And now he just admitted it by saying you need goggles. If masks work, why do I need goggles? It's the whole point. You can't touch your mask all the time. You can't stick it in the ashtray of your car and then put it back on and walk in the restaurant, take it off, lay it on the table that you didn't wash it, put it back on, stick it on the counter while you're washing your hands, put it back on. You're wearing a dirty diaper
Plus,
around
not
your face.
getting those viruses makes you weaker.
Absolutely. And then now goggles. Here's the point, folks. I want to just make this perfectly clear. If you are afraid of a 0.26 death rate of COVID-19, that's your right. But don't believe that mask is
roll
going
over
to
to the flu and
right.
the cold and goes over.
He's right. You do need goggles. You need a mask. But you know what you need? You need a hazmat
You need
suit. Let's be honest.
sunglasses,
no
baby.
one that works with virus would ever,
I mean, look
trust
at
a
this
mask
cult
and
leader.
some goggles.
Look at these cult
Look at
leaders.
this moron.
I mean, they're
This is
losing
absurd.
control.
I can
so
see
now
the
they're
air
wearing
gaps.
masks.
Oh, perfect.
The only goggles I
Yeah,
need.
absolutely perfect. This is the world we're going to. And here's the point. Wear a hazmat suit. We're gonna mandate hazmat suits? You know, we're gonna attempt to avoid herd immunity that much because we're this close, man.
They don't want to have natural births. They want us in pods.
That's it. That's been written about in science fiction novels that used to be required reading. Have you looked into that? I bet you anything nobody reads 1984, Fahrenheit 451, Brave New World. They're not reading that in high school anymore. There's no way. You can't have kids embracing the idea that governments may actually not be out for your best interest. Just like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and John Adams told us, right? We're giving you a government. It's going to be a mess. It's a necessary evil because we don't want you all killing each
But
other.
you better watch out.
But you better watch out, man. This is a pit bull from hell. And if you feed it wrong,
We're only
treat it
giving you
wrong.
a government to block other worse governments.
That's it. This is the best we could find. It's still a piece of crap, but man, be very careful with it. And now we see people that hate our Constitution.
That's such a good
They
point.
hate
This guy
country.
right now is
and
crushing
they are,
it.
they're pushing
This guy
the
is
agenda,
murdering. If you're
to
still here,
say
this
we
is
don't
a
need
treat.
borders, right? Let's just be a world. Let's just be the breadbasket of the world. Let's just all do this together. Yeah, go ahead. Just pay me like
wear a
in
mask.
China.
You can't trust anything, but then open up any political system.
That's right. I mean, and by the way, while this COVID-19, you know what else it's doing? It's destroying your change in your dollar bills. Those are disappearing. What the hell does that have to do with the virus?
They're bringing their whole system
The
in.
whole thing is coming in.
World government, forced inoculations, tracker chips, and then, like I said, Gates is like, yeah, we want you to take a digital tattoo injection. And we go, okay, here, Gates said, I didn't say that.
Right. Why isn't he standing in it? You'll never hear me say I didn't say something that I have on video. I was backing it. And by the way, science changes. I'll be the first one to say, you know what?
That's
I
the
did
perfect
say that.
face
That was
for
the
them to
published
go
science
to
at that time.
randomly.
It has modernized. They've made mistakes.
Let's
We're
bring
looking at
this
the new
up.
science.
Obviously, Gates is a front guy, but this isn't going the way he thought it would go.
It is not going the way he planned. It's not going the way anyone planned. They did not expect 50% of Americans are now questioning using the vaccine. 30% saying I won't go near that thing over my dead body.
And all these doctors coming out.
But it's the greatest thing for me. I mean, I'll be honest. It was clear. There was an article came out, Media Matters Against Me, last Thursday. Another one came out over the weekend. CNN did a story with me in it on Saturday. My Twitter went down Thursday. By Monday, Facebook was threatening to take me down. On Wednesday, YouTube took me down. I feel like I was the goal for the week. But then these doctors, they're like angels for me. They came out of nowhere. They stood in front of the Supreme Court, 17 million views, and boom, oh my God, we were just going to be taking down Del Braintree this week. Now we got to take down doctors.
Exactly. They think exactly.
You know,
as more people get involved.
That's it, man. It was awesome. It couldn't have been better timing because it showed the world. It's not just me. I've had half those doctors on my show. They're standing in truth. They're treating people. They care about people. They're not throwing up their hands saying, yeah, everybody I put on a ventilator dies. And by the way, I want to be perfectly clear. I do celebrate and say thank you to those frontline doctors that stood in front of D.C. I do not thank these doctors that are going along with protocols and essentially says, I'm not going to give you anything. I can't put you on an oxygen
Hold on,
machine.
dude, 5 more
I'm going to
minutes.
stick you on a ventilator. I'm going
We have less. Final points you want to make, people.
The point is this, is that your body is your own. You know, your children are your children. It's really that simple. We are not property of the U.S. government. We are certainly
Josh,
not
I love you
property
too.
of
What
the
are you
Chinese
heading out?
government,
Falling
which
asleep.
really is going to
I get
take
it.
over this country. They're going to
You
take
trying
over
to
this
tell
country.
me that that's
if
on
we
me
are
to
hunkered
keep you
down in
up?
our
This
basement
guy is
and not
spitting knowledge
manufacturing
right
anything,
now.
not growing anything, not producing
guy is
anything,
killing it.
then while we're in our basements, China's going to have to take care of us. And we are looking at losing the power
Yeah, I've been
that
listening
the
to a lot
United
of
States
Alex
of America
Jones
has had. This is beyond a medical issue. This medical issue is getting in our way and it's clouding our thinking. If China was attacking our borders
All
right
who
now,
are
we would
adamantly
risk millions of
opposed
lives
to Alex
to
Jones
go and fight and
continuing,
make sure
speak
that
up.
we maintain our property, that we hold on to our
All
jobs,
who like
that
it
we
also
hold on
speak
to
up if
American
you feel
exceptional,
strongly.
you know,
Whoever
Stand
feels
up
strongly
for business
for
and we're
or
all
against
standing up.
Right, we're shut
continuing
down
this
because
guy.
of 0.26% death rate. A
This
couple
guy is the
100,000
guy
of us
who
might
made the
die,
Vax
especially if we deny them
documentary.
hydroxychloroquine.
He was just
But we would
recently
risk far more
thrown
than
off
that,
of
and we
YouTube.
should if we knew we were under threat.
And everywhere
We're
else.
going to lose the greatest nation in the world.
He's a medical
and
journalist.
What are we being told? Why are we
It's
told
pertinent to the
because
time. This is from
sick
today's episode.
people are my responsibility. I got to wear a mask for you. I got to hunker down.
Could
I
use a
got to lose my
change.
job for you. Well, you know what? If that's the case, I just want to make this point. If I am actually responsible
Let him make
for
his
you,
point.
and it's my responsibility to protect you, then I'm not stopping the mask. I'm going outside the grocery store. I'm going to stop you and your Doritos and your Kool-Aids and your sodas and your lack of vegetables. And I'm going to say, no, get back in that store. I'm going to start writing laws to make you healthy. If I'm responsible for you, then you don't want me up your butt. I would love to have that job. I believe it's a free country. You go ahead, eat what you want, drink what you want, smoke what you want, but leave me alone when you get sick. I'm not responsible to keep you alive after you messed up your life. So let's decide where the line is drawn. You want me in your life? Then I'll do it. We're going to do it preemptively. We're going to make everybody healthy. We're going to put them on all the vitamins you can find here at Alex Jones. We're going to make sure you can't get COVID-19. How about
I asked
that?
this question before. You're on fire, Del Big Tree.
158. Ladies and gentlemen, we're having a long night. It's 12:47 for me also. I've been going for 5. This is 7 hours. I've been going since 5 p.m. So if y'all think y'all are getting tired, think about me. I was sitting here half asleep before we started. I tweeted out a half an hour out to the stream. I don't know if I have the energy. You guys got to keep me up. It's a sleepover. Heather suggested a video. She sent it to me. It's some guy talking. I feel like we might need something more than that. Heather, I'm going to ask you to hold. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go take a search right now. We're going to go down a rabbit hole. Kind of a rabbit hole. We're going to watch something. We're going to find something. We'll go here. You guys seeing this? Yep. Okay. What's on my home? Vernon Jones owned leftist host. This might be, or this Meet Bill Gates looks damn interesting, I'm not going to lie. This might be our next, because we watched the first one earlier and it was really good. But for right now, peeps, how about you play a game with the chat? Let us throw phrases out. You have to Google it. No, I'm not doing that, because that's how you're going to get, that's how I'm going to get thrown off of Facebook and YouTube. All my safe searches are off, and I'm not in the business of putting them on. So if I Google any of these things, it's going to be the worst possible scenario. It's bad enough that I play videos without scanning them first. All right, boys and girls.
Because, as we've told you years ago, he was a confidential...
It's funny because we went to listen to Alex Jones tonight. We ended up listening to that other fucking guy. Let's see what Officer Tatum has to talk about.
Are you awake? I know how hard it can be. Sometimes just getting out of bed is a hassle.
One of my favorites.
Fatigued, a little lethargic.
Homeboy just got on. This video is brought to you by TatumReport.com. TatumReport.com. Get the link in the description section. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you get notifications anytime I go live or make a video. Make sure you still subscribe to my channel. Hit the join button so you can join the Tatum Squad. Like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, I had to make this video. I had to. I actually have somewhere to be in a few minutes, but I have to make this video because homeboy on MSDNC got served. Craig Melvin got served by Vernon Jones. I don't know what else to tell you, but he got served. We're going to watch it in a minute, but I literally saw this video on the Tatum Report yesterday, and I was like, same old stuff, man. I just decided to watch it today. And I said, oh my God, I love it when these liberals get served, especially the black liberals getting served by another black man, because it's almost impossible for you to say he's a racist. Now, we're going to watch this together, and I want you to see textbook servitude. I know that's probably the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying. He's finna get served on video in front of the world, MSDNC. Let's watch the video.
You are an elected Democrat there in the state of Georgia, as I understand it, but yet you're supporting the Republican president's re-election bid.
I hate this guy on the left.
How is that going over in your district?
Well, obviously, my district knows about me. I've served as county executive.
Oh, I saw this video
I've done things to move my county forward, and the people serve them well. Solid record of accomplishments. But this is not about politics. This is about putting your country before politics, putting your country before the party. President Trump is right on target with results. Prior to the pandemic, he had the best, and you know it, the best economy that we've had going back years and years and years. The Democratic Party chose to put
an economy that even many on the right have acknowledged that he inherited from the previous administration.
Well, that's fake news. That's fake news that he inherited.
We're not doing that.
If you look at the unemployment among African Americans during his years and during the Obama years, clearly it was much better. If you look at opportunity zone districts, if you look at support and financial support to historical colleges, clearly it's better off under his administration than in previous administration. So, I don't want to get caught into politics.
Well,
just because I'm a Democrat, my party feels though that
I like to traffic in facts, and much of what you just said is patently false. But I do want to.
Is this a recommendation, Josh?
This is my show. I'll ask questions. Give me a second.
You had me on your show, so
I know,
let me explain. Don't cut me off.
I'm not cutting you off, but I do want to. Are you a paid campaign surrogate? Are you being compensated by?
Let me be clear. You get paid to shape a liberal narrative. You get paid to attack this president. I don't get a dime for this president. I don't get a dime.
You get paid. Let's keep it 100. You get paid, and he does get paid. I love it. I don't know about y'all, but I love it. I almost snotted out of my nose. I thought that was so funny. You cannot. Listen. I want y'all to be confident in this.
We saw him gut served. We're watching the Bill Gates video. Super interesting.
That Bill Gates has worn many hats on his remarkable journey from his early life as the privileged son of a Seattle area power couple to his current status as one of the richest and most influential people. Computer whiz kid, talented software developer, shrewd businessman, benevolent philanthropist, global health expert. There can be no doubt that Bill Gates has worn many hats on his remarkable journey from his early life as the privileged son of a Seattle area power couple to his current status as one of the richest and most influential people on the planet.
Shirts are awesome.
But as we have seen in our exploration of Gates' rise as unelected global health czar and population control advocate, the question of who Bill Gates really is no mere philosophical pursuit. Given that we are currently living through a crisis that has been predicted by Bill Gates, which is triggering a response from the global health organizations that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has bankrolled, and driving us toward a vaccination and biometric ID solution, which Bill Gates has been working on for years. The answer to the question, who is Bill Gates, is quickly becoming one of the most important questions of our lives. That answer will not only tell us about the world that we are living in, but about the one that we are being thrust into, and how we can avoid it. Today we will attempt to answer that question as we examine the motives, the ideology, and the connections of this man who has been so instrumental in shaping the post-coronavirus world. Meet Bill Gates. You're tuned into the Corbett Report. So who is Bill Gates? Some argue that he's a genius who leveraged his natural computer savvy into a billion-dollar fortune.
You're called a genius, and well, no, I don't think that embarrassed you at all. They call you a genius. Part of your genius is that you are a computer whiz, and the other is that you did have the business acumen to turn it into a working company.
My favorite shirt that he has is the one that says racist. Anyone who disagrees with a liberal.
Others insist that he is a visionary who has changed our lives with his foresight and bold imagination.
Bill had a vision, and I understand it went back even then, that computing would be ubiquitous. It would be part of all of our lives. And indeed, as you all know, he executed on that vision, and the world today has changed so dramatically, in large part due to the work that Bill has done throughout the years.
He has been hailed as a shrewd executive who built the Microsoft empire with his remarkable talent for business.
When the biographers and historians write the history of the 20th century, Bill Gates is going to go down as the best businessman of our century, and Microsoft is one of the greatest companies of the 20th century.
And he has been praised as a philanthropist who is selflessly devoting his wealth to improving the lives of people around the world.
Bill, even your harshest critic would have to admit that your philanthropy work is, planet-shaking, incredible, and could be, if you make it a second act, so amazing that it would dwarf what you've actually done at Microsoft.
Exactly.
But, like anyone of his status, he has his detractors. In the 1990s, he was often portrayed as the greedy head of the evil Microsoft monopoly.
Bill Gates isn't content with his Windows system running just a few PCs. He wants it to run the world, spreading like a computer virus into our faxes, our phones, our TV sets, and yes, even our toasters.
Wow, it's the truth.
But in the age of the coronavirus crisis, he is most often treated like some sort of epidemiologist or leading health researcher.
Back here with us once again to talk about this, as well as testing, treatments, and more, Bill Gates, co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Bill, thanks so much for being back with us. It's been a little over a month since you were here, and at that time, you said the U.S. had not hit its peak. So at this point, do you think we have peaked, and where do you think we are right now in kind of the arc of the pandemic?
But in truth, none of these perspectives are accurate. Microsoft's big break famously came from a deal to provide software for IBM as they moved into the personal computer market. But the deal was not the result of Gates' technical genius or amazing business acumen. As has been quietly admitted by IBM executives in the years since, Microsoft was given their shot at the chance to work with Big Blue as a result of Gates' mother's relationship with IBM CEO John Opel.
You remember your partnership of IBM and Bill Gates. How did it break up?
I do remember very well, actually. Bill Gates, at the time, at the beginning of our relationship with him, was living on pizza and Pepsi-Cola in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And his mother happened to be on the United Way board with our chairman and asked our chairman to help him. And you know, when the chairman comes in and tells you to go help this kid, 900 people get on the plane Monday morning and they all go down to try to help Bill Gates. So I don't see Bill Gates as this great creative person. I see him as an opportunist. And in fact, in those days, there was a lot of sharing of software code. People gave it away. In Silicon Valley, they would share everything. He came in and he tried to control everything and put a price on it.
Computer historians have long known how the basis for what became MS-DOS was not Bill Gates' brilliant imagination, but QDOS, a quick and dirty operating system that had been thrown together by Tim Patterson, a worker at Seattle Computer Products, as a placeholder until he could sell a proper operating system to his customers. And as even Gates himself admitted, the breakthrough graphical user interface that became the basis for Windows was ripped off from the researchers at the Xerox Palo Alto Research Center.
As Bill would say after Apple unsuccessfully sued Microsoft for copyright infringement over Windows GUI, "Hey, Steve, just because you broke into Xerox's house before I did and took the TV doesn't mean I can't go in later and take the stereo."
And, as Gates also admits, it is not a spirit of selfless generosity that motivates his interest in vaccines and other lucrative health interventions.
I'd like to talk to you about your approach to vaccinations. You wrote something recently, and like you always do, you kind of looked at the problem from a scientific and business perspective on things. You've invested $10 billion in vaccinations over the last 2 decades, and you figured out the return on investment for that. And it kind of stunned me. Can you walk us through the math?
You know, we see a phenomenal track record. It's been $100 billion overall that the world's put in. Our foundation is a bit more than $10 billion. But we feel there's been over a 20-to-1 return. So if you just look at the economic benefits, that's a pretty strong number compared to anything else.
As we have seen, Gates' philanthropic investment scheme has paid off well, with his $50 billion net worth having ballooned to over $100 billion after his decade of altruism in the vaccine market. As critics of his foundation have repeatedly pointed out, the 9 million people who die every year of hunger would be best served by securing food supplies, running water, and other basic necessities, not costly medical interventions for rare diseases. But there is no return on investment to be made from that kind of charity. No, this is not about charity. It is about control. The population control grid that Gates has been quietly funding into existence for the past decade, a biometric identification system tied to a digital payments infrastructure that will be used to track, catalog, and control every movement, every transaction, and every interaction of every citizen, is just now coming into view. But the real question is, why is he doing this? What drives a man like Bill Gates, a man rich beyond the wildest dreams of avarice, to spend his time and invest his fortune in schemes to control the population? To find the answer to that question, we have to examine Gates' family background. Bill Gates, it should not be surprising to learn, was born into money. His great-grandfather, J.W. Maxwell, was the president of National City Bank in Seattle. His grandfather, Willard, was also a banker, and his grandmother, Adele, a prominent Seattle civic leader. Bill Gates' mother, Mary Maxwell Gates, was a scion of the Maxwell banking family and, by all accounts, as hard-driving as her forebears. She served as a director of several companies, including First Interstate Bancorp and KIRO-TV of Seattle. She served as a regent at the University of Washington, and she was appointed to the board of the United Way of America, where, as we have seen, she persuaded IBM CEO John Opel to help her son in his fledgling software development career. Bill's father, William H. Gates Sr., was a prominent Seattle area lawyer. He co-founded a powerful law and lobbying firm, helped Howard Schultz in his bid to buy Starbucks, served on the boards of numerous companies and organizations, and, along the way, had a profound influence on his son's life and career.
My dad was large presence, both physically and in terms of his wisdom. He worked very hard, so he'd leave in the mornings, often before we had breakfast, and get home in time for dinner. I always looked up to my dad in terms of how hard he worked. At the dinner table, my dad would go through various lawsuits and expect us to follow along. He had high expectations.
The young Bill Gates, technically William H. Gates III, although his card-playing family dubbed him Trey, learned much from his parents. From his mother's banking family, he inherited a nose for the dollar, as one childhood friend's father called it. From his hard-driving, legal-minded father, he learned the value of legalizing business arrangements. As a child, he even had a legal contract drawn up to grant him the use of his older sister's baseball mitt. These traits would not earn him many friends, but they served him well as he began to bring order to the anarchic software development community of the 1970s. At that time, software for the brand new personal computer market was the realm of computer hobbyists, people whose excitement about the microcomputer revolution and love of engineering and problem solving led them to develop and share code freely with each other. But this was no good for the young Bill Gates, who, even before Microsoft was off the ground, was already dreaming of commoditizing this hobby and turning it into the basis of a business empire. In 1976, with the ink still wet on Microsoft's first contract with Micro Instrumentation and Telemetry Systems of Albuquerque, New Mexico, the then 21-year-old Gates wrote an open letter to hobbyists, excoriating the early computer enthusiasts who represented his main market for sharing Microsoft code for Altair Basic. As the majority of hobbyists must be aware, most of you steal your software. Hardware must be paid for, but software is something to share. Who cares if the people who worked on it get paid? Is this fair? The royalty paid to us, the manual, the tape, and the overhead make it a break-even operation. One thing you do is prevent good software from being written. Who can afford to do professional work for nothing? What hobbyist can put 3 man-years into programming, finding all bugs, documenting his product, and distribute for free? The fact is, no one besides us has invested a lot of money in hobby software. We have written 6800 BASIC and are writing 8080 APL and 6800 APL, but there is very little incentive to make this software available to hobbyists. Most directly, the thing you do is theft. The letter was awkward and tone-deaf, as many people have described the young Bill Gates in his social interactions. It heaped vitriol on the very people who would be the customers of any future business, and tried to change an established culture of sharing software code merely by decree. Even Apple computers, which would go on to be one of the prime purveyors of walled garden systems that restrict users' ability to control their own computers, scored an easy marketing victory by responding to Gates' angry letter with a reminder that, yes, folks, Apple Basic is free. But the gauntlet was thrown down, and Gates would have his way. Although freeware and other forms of open-source software development still exist, the establishment of software code as legally protected intellectual property has led to the rise of billionaires like Gates. A nose for the dollar and a knowledge of how to use the legal system to get what you want were not the only things to emerge from Bill Gates' childhood, however. His parents also encouraged discussion about the family's charity work and the causes they held close to their heart. As Gates revealed to Bill Moyers in 2003, those causes included the population issue, which sparked a lifelong interest in reproductive health.
One issue that really grabbed me as urgent were issues related to population, reproductive health.
But did you come to reproductive issues as an intellectual?
When I was growing up, my parents were always involved in various volunteer things. My dad was head of Planned Parenthood, and it was very controversial to be involved with that.
Oh,
Gates tips his hand when he equates issues related to population with reproductive health. The topic is particularly controversial because population control and reproductive health have been used for half a century as a euphemism for eugenics, the discredited pseudoscience that holds that certain families are fit to be leaders of society by virtue of their superior genes. As we saw in Why Big Oil Conquered the World, eugenics was a field named and codified by Francis Galton, cousin of Charles Darwin. Ostensibly concerned with heredity and what would later be known as genetics, the eugenicists believed that the rich and powerful were rich and powerful not because of luck or chance or happenstance, and certainly not from the deployment of cutthroat business tactics and underhanded dealings. No, the rich and powerful had attained their status because they came from better stock. Conversely, the poor were poor because of their defective germplasm. As transparent as it seems to us today that this ideology was a self-serving self-justification for the ruling class, it was quickly taken up as the great social crusade of the early 20th century. From Teddy Roosevelt to H.G. Wells to Julian Huxley to Winston Churchill, there was widespread support for the eugenicist notion that society must strive to make sure that the rich and well-born breed as much as possible, and the poor, infirm, and feeble-minded be prevented from having children. A common eugenicist argument was that the scarce resources of society should not be used to support the lower classes, as that only encouraged more of their kind. Instead, life-saving medical care and intervention should be rationed so that those resources can be best put to use elsewhere. So-called negative eugenicists even took things further, with some, like famed playwright George Bernard Shaw, calling for people to be called before a state-appointed board to justify their existence or be put to death.
But there are an extraordinary number of people whom I want to kill. Not in any unkind or personal spirit, but it must be evident to all of you. You must all know half a dozen people at least who are no use in this world.
Hey, Josh,
who are more
like the
trouble
stream.
than
There's
they
my
are
new
worth.
zombie surprise
And
right below the video.
I think it would be a good thing.
Thank you, Josh.
To make everybody come before a properly appointed board, just as he might come before the income tax commissioners, and say every 5 years or every 7 years, just put him there and say, sir or madam, now will you be kind enough to justify your existence?
But in the post-World War II era, as the name of eugenics became tarred by association with the Nazi atrocities, the talk of death panels and other harsh eugenicist notions was dropped from public conversation. Now, the quest to reduce the size of the poor population was spoken of as population control and reproductive health. Still, occasionally, these old negative eugenics ideas are revisited in moments of candor.
You're raising tuitions at the University of California as rapidly as they can, and so the access that used to be available to the middle class or whatever is just rapidly going away. That's a trade-off society is making because of very, very high medical costs and a lack of willingness to say, you know, is spending $1 million on that last 3 months of life for that patient, would it be better not to lay off those 10 teachers and to make that trade-off in medical costs? But that's called the death panel, and you're not supposed to have that discussion.
It is worth questioning why this man, who openly muses about death panels and the trade-offs of providing healthcare to the elderly, is to be taken completely at face value in his attempts to slow population growth in the Third World, or to handle a coronavirus health crisis that primarily affects the elderly. That the Gates agenda is being driven by a eugenicist ideology is suggested by multiple lines of evidence, both historical and current. As we have also seen in Why Big Oil Conquered the World, the Rockefeller family was instrumental in funding and promoting eugenics, both in America and overseas. The Rockefellers helped fund the Eugenics Record Office. The founding director of the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research, William Welch, sat on the ERO's board and helped direct its activities. The Rockefellers sponsored the studies of the eugenics researchers at the Kaiser Wilhelm Institutes in Germany, including Ernst Rudin, who would go on to draft Nazi Germany's forced sterilization law. And, when the American Eugenics Society became embarrassed of its own name, its longtime director, Frederick Osborne, merely took over as president of the Rockefeller-founded Population Council. This dedication to the cause of public health did not escape the approving gaze of Bill Gates Sr. In a chapter of his 2009 book, Showing Up for Life, called Walking with Giants, he writes admiringly of the Rockefellers and their influence in the field. Every corner we've turned in the field of global health, we've found that the Rockefellers were already there and had been there for years. When we committed to childhood immunization, we found ourselves building on efforts the Rockefeller Foundation had helped launch and fund in the 1980s. When we became interested in fighting malaria and tuberculosis, we learned that the Rockefellers had been studying the prevention and treatment of such diseases around the globe for, in some cases, as long as 100 years. A similar dynamic held true in the case of HIV/AIDS. A lesson we learned from studying and working with the Rockefellers is that to succeed in pursuing audacious goals, you need like-minded partners with whom to collaborate. And we learned that such goals are not prizes claimed by the short-winded. The Rockefellers stay with tough problems for generations. As Gates Sr. suggests, it is by working with like-minded partners that such great achievements in the field of global health can be made. For the Gates, these like-minded partners include the Rockefellers themselves. Bill Gates Sr. got to discuss global health, agriculture, and environment with the likes of David Rockefeller Sr. and David Rockefeller Jr. at a meeting on Philanthropy in a Global Century at Rockefeller University campus in 2000. And Bill Gates, as we have seen, co-hosted a meeting on reducing the population with David Rockefeller in 2009. But the most salacious hints of a deeper agenda are not to be found in the Gates' public associations, but in the associations that they have tried to hide from the public.
Jeffrey Epstein may be dead, but this story isn't. A shocking new report from the New York Times sheds light on the connection between Microsoft founder Bill Gates and the late Jeffrey Epstein. After Gates' name came up in connection with Epstein and MIT Media Lab, Gates gave a statement to the Wall Street Journal where he insisted he did not have any business relationship or friendship with Epstein. But new reporting from the New York Times outlines numerous meetings between Gates and Epstein and a conversation with Bill and Melinda Gates' foundation, a connection between their foundation and JP Morgan to set up a charitable fund that would financially benefit Epstein. You know what I want to know? Why?
Beginning in August of last year, a string of information connecting Bill Gates to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein began to emerge. Flight logs revealed that Gates had flown on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet. An email surfaced showing disgraced MIT Media Lab director Joy Ito, who resigned from his position after it was discovered that he had helped cover up Jeffrey Epstein's identity as an anonymous donor to the lab, informing his staff that a $2 million donation to the lab in 2014 was a gift from Bill Gates, directed by Jeffrey Epstein. As the story gained momentum, Gates tried to downplay the relationship, with a Gates spokesperson protesting that Gates didn't know it was Epstein's plane, and Gates himself insisting that, "I didn't have any business relationship or friendship with Epstein." This was immediately contradicted by the New York Times, who reported in October of 2012 that Gates had in fact met with Epstein on multiple occasions, even going so far as to discuss the creation of a multi-billion-dollar charitable fund with seed money from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and JP Morgan Chase. According to the Times, Gates emailed his colleagues about Epstein in 2011. "His lifestyle is very different and kind of intriguing, although it would not work for me." Epstein's will even named Boris Nikolic, a Harvard-trained immunologist who served as the chief scientific advisor to both Microsoft and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and who appears in the sole publicly known photo of Epstein and Gates' 2011 meeting at Epstein's Manhattan mansion, as the backup executor of Epstein's estate.
Very interesting.
It is not difficult to see why Gates would try to distance himself from his relationship with the child sex trafficker. Epstein, after all, is suspected of ensnaring high-ranking politicians, businessmen, and even royalty in an intelligence-directed honeypot operation, recording them in the act of sexually abusing underage girls and using that evidence as blackmail. But, as it turns out, the attempt to suppress the Gates-Epstein story may have been an attempt to suppress the revelation of an altogether different shared interest.
Sources say several accusers have come forward in New Mexico, where Epstein owns a sprawling ranch. According to a new report published in the New York Times, not verified by NBC News, Epstein wanted to use the ranch for controlled breeding, using his DNA to improve humanity. Citing 2 award-winning scientists and an advisor to large companies and wealthy individuals, the article reports Epstein surrounded himself with leading scientists and would tell them he wanted to have 20 women impregnated at a time on the ranch.
The already scarcely believable Jeffrey Epstein story took another bizarre turn in August of 2019, when it was reported that Epstein hoped to seed the human race with his DNA. As the New York Times explained, Epstein's plan to impregnate 20 women at a time at his New Mexico ranch in order to seed the human race with his DNA, a plan he told to a number of the scientific luminaries he kept in his orbit, put a modern gloss on a very old idea. Mr. Epstein's vision reflected his long-standing fascination with what has become known as transhumanism, the science of improving the human population through technologies like genetic engineering and artificial intelligence. Critics have likened transhumanism to a modern-day version of eugenics, the discredited field of improving the human race through controlled breeding.
Wow.
Epstein's interest in genetics led him to sponsor a number of scientists working in the field, including George Church, a Harvard geneticist whose lab received funding from Epstein's foundation from 2005 to 2007 for cutting-edge science.
It is what it is.
Church publicly apologized for his connection to Epstein, which included several meetings a year from 2014 onward.
Racist, rapist, Satanist, pedophile,
this was neither the first nor the last time that this unassuming Harvard biologist, whose cutting-edge science often strays into controversial areas, caused a public scandal. In 2019, Church proposed a genetics dating app, which was immediately denounced as applied eugenics. Church also acted as scientific advisor to Editas Medicine, a startup seeking to use the genome editing tool CRISPR-Cas9 to eliminate diseases by deleting the parts of a genetic code responsible for the illness. In 2015, the company announced it had raised $120 million from a group led by Epstein's appointed backup executor, Dr. Boris Nikolic. Naturally, that group of investors included Bill Gates. Yes, Bill Gates is certainly following his father's advice to collaborate with like-minded partners. So the question remains, is Bill Gates motivated by eugenics? Given that eugenics went underground over half a century ago, we are unlikely ever to unearth a frank admission along those lines from Gates himself. After all, there are no longer any card-carrying members of the American Eugenics Society. The society was rebranded in the 1970s when, as the society founder noted, it became evident that changes of a eugenic nature would be made for reasons other than eugenics, and that tying a eugenic label on them would more often hinder than help their adoption. But there was an American Eugenics Society in the 1920s, and it just so happened to boast a William H. Gates on its member roster.
Wow.
But perhaps that is just a coincidence. And there was an American Eugenics Society in the 1960s, when William H. Gates II was preceded as head of Planned Parenthood by Alan Guttmacher, who simultaneously served as the director of the American Eugenics Society. And perhaps it was coincidence that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation organized their London Summit on Family Planning, at which the Gates recommitted themselves to funding population control in the Third World, in July 2012, on the anniversary of the first International Eugenics Congress, held in London exactly 100 years prior. And perhaps it is reaching to compare the young Bill Gates' dating preferences to the genetic-based dating favored by modern-day eugenicists.
I interviewed several women who had dated Bill just briefly, and one told me the very first question Bill asked her was, "What did you score on your SAT test?" You know, this is not exactly, what a young woman wants to hear. For Bill Gates, though, he had scored a perfect 800 on his math portion of the SAT, and this was a matter of pride with him, and he wanted to make sure whoever he was dating, had scored a pretty high grade.
No, we cannot expect an answer about Bill Gates' true motives to come from Gates himself. By this point, the question of Bill Gates' intentions has been buried under the combined weight of hundreds of millions of dollars of paid PR spin.
It's fucking crazy.
Like the Rockefellers before them, the Gates have long since learned the secret of enlarging their family fortune, not to mention their control over the human population, by donning the mask of philanthropy.
Oh, there we go.
There are many perspectives on Bill Gates. Depending on who you ask, he is a computer savant, a genius businessman, or a saintly philanthropist. But all of these perspectives have been brought to you through PR outlets founded or funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Bill Gates is no longer a subject for historians, but hagiographers. Now we must confront the question of why this man is motivated to build such a web of control. Control over our public health agencies.
And for all 193 member states,
You must make vaccines a high priority in your health systems to ensure that all your children have access to existing vaccines now and to the new vaccines that have recently become available.
Control over our identities.
And the lack of an ID system is a problem, not just for the payment system, but also for voting and health and education and taxation. And so it's a wonderful thing to go in and create a broad identification system.
Control over our transactions.
Once financial flows go underground, where you have lots of legitimate transactions mixed in with the ones you want to track, and once they're going over a digital system that the U.S. has no connection to, it's far more difficult to find the transactions that you want to be aware of or that you want to block.
And even control over our bodies.
But we're going to have this intermediate period of opening up, and it won't be normal until we get an amazing vaccine to the entire world.
An amazing vaccine.
We must confront the possibility that this quest for control comes not from a selfless spirit of generosity that never seemed to exist before he became a multi-billionaire, but from the same drive for money, the same desire for domination, and the same sense of superiority that motivated him on his way up the corporate ladder. But if the answer to the question, who is Bill Gates, is Bill Gates is a eugenicist, that tells us some important things about the world that we are living in. It tells us that Gates is deceiving the public into supporting his takeover of the world with a false front of philanthropy. It tells us that the goal of the Gates, like the goal of the Rockefellers before them, is not to improve the world for humankind, but to improve the world for their kind. And most importantly, it tells us that Bill Gates is no comic book supervillain, single-handedly directing all of the chaos that is unfolding in the world or single-handedly bringing his own order to that chaos. No, if Bill Gates is a eugenicist, driven by a belief in the superiority of himself and his fellow wealthy elitists, then what we are facing is not one man, or even one family, but an ideology. This is not a trivial point. One man, whatever his wealth, can be stopped easily enough. But even if Bill Gates were to be thrown in jail tomorrow, the agenda that has already been set in motion would continue without missing a beat. An entire infrastructure of researchers, labs, corporations, governmental agencies, and public health bodies exists, funded more often than not by Gates, but driven by the belief of all those millions of people working for these various entities that they are truly working in the best interest of the people. No, an ideology cannot be stopped by stopping one man. It can only be stopped when enough people learn the truth about this agenda and the world of total, pervasive control that is coming into view. If you have watched all 4 parts of this exploration on Bill Gates, then you are now one of the most informed people on the planet about the true nature of this agenda.
We watched 2.
You have seen how the takeover of public health has been used to railroad the world into a headlong rush toward mandatory vaccinations, biometric identification, and digital payments. You have seen how the pieces of this puzzle fit together, and how they represent a far greater threat to the future of humanity than any virus. Here is the good news. Armed with this information, you have the antidote to the scourge of this eugenicist ideology. The truth is that ideologies are viruses of the mind. They spread from person to person, infecting them with ideas that can lead to a disease of the body politic. But here is the even greater truth. Inoculations do work. Inoculations of truth against the lies of those spreading their poisonous ideology. If you have made it this far, it is incumbent on you to help inoculate those around you against the corrupt ideology of Bill Gates and all those who seek to control the population of the world. You must help to spread this information so that others have a chance to see the bigger picture and decide for themselves whether they are willing to roll up their sleeves and accept what is coming or not. But time is not on our side. Even as we speak, mass vaccination campaigns are being prepared.
We are already building our plans to vaccinate the whole city of Chicago and working with others across the region on a major plan for this. We've bought syringes, we've bought cold boxes, we've planned out locations.
Biometric identification schemes and immunity passports are already being rolled out.
And so while we started with travel at our core, we're a biometric secure identity platform where it's always been about attaching your identity to your boarding pass at the airport, or your ticket to get into a sports stadium, or your credit card to buy a beer. And so now with the launch of Clear Health Pass, it's about attaching your identity to your COVID-related health insights for employers, for employees, for customers.
Programs for tracking, tracing, and surveilling the entire population are already being beta tested.
Today, we are launching another useful tool that can supplement the critical detective work we are conducting in public health. Alberta Trace Together is a voluntary, secure, mobile contact tracing application to help prevent the spread of COVID-19.
And the digital payment infrastructure, the system of financial exclusion that will allow governments to turn off our access to the economy at will, is being put into place.
In order to avoid the risk of transmission through physical handling of money, we encourage the use of cashless transactions, such as mobile money, M-Pesa and otherwise, and credit cards.
People are using touchless payment systems much more than they're using cash, both because we're not interacting with people directly as much anymore, and also because cash is kind of skeezy.
We must spread the word about the dark nature of this population control agenda to as many people as we can, before our ability to speak out against this agenda is taken away for good. Thanks to the likes of Bill Gates, the virus of this population control agenda is already here. It is threatening to crash the system as we've known it. But if Bill Gates has taught us anything,
applications like Word and Excel,
it's how to deal with a virus. It's time for a hard reset.
This series has been great. The Corbett Report is great. Minute and a half. So let me get to what you said here. Food supply is poisoned by Monsanto. Correct. Not poisoned, but altered. Air is compromised, I think is what you said. Water supply sketchy. Education and media fixed and fake. What the fuck is going on? What's the end game? This has been coming for years. This has been what they've been trying to do. Get the overall net, the cloud of darkness all over everybody, the ultimate doubt. This is the, I don't want to call it chaos, because that's not the word, for ideological subversion. The third stage, demoralization, and then destabilization, and then the chaos phase, and then the reconstruction or the renormalization. But we're in the chaos phase right now. They're trying for communism. The end result is communism in America. The end result is taking away our free country. This is all about destroying that beautiful little thing called the Constitution. Every other country is working for the same people, which is globalists, okay? Globalists are running the show. They want us to get on the global game plan. Donald Trump is not doing it. He is what's called a populist, which means for the people, or a nationalist, which means putting your country first. He is both of those things. And the globalists are trying to destroy our free nation here. And what they're trying to do by destroying our free nation is destroying the freedom that is America, the very foundation. It's about convincing people that America is evil. It's about convincing people that America is bad, so they don't want to defend it, so they're not proud to be American. Destroying patriotism. I mean, this is everything that is going on. This is life. We were listening to Alex Jones at the beginning talk about a lot of this. It's about globalists. It's about globalism and globalists. And it's funny because 10 or 15 years ago, when I would use globalists, nobody had heard of it, and it wasn't a thing, and it was a word that people didn't use. Now they talk about globalism on the news. It's a thing that's been normalized because they're trying to convince people to accept globalism because that's the opposite of nationalism, and Trump is a nationalist. Therefore, you have to accept globalism because he's a nationalist, and nationalist is evil. But that's not necessarily the case. Where does our blood go when we die? You know, I never even thought about that till this very second. Never thought about it for 1 second. I had no idea. That's a great question. Alien Ant Farm was a better name than we realized, right? Bill the Hell Gates. Oh, wow, Hell Gates. I like that. They always need huge blood sacrifices. That's what they're doing, Jay. That's what they're doing. Right now, as we speak, that's what they're fucking doing. They are off, locked away in fucking caves, sacrificing fucking children, praying to fucking Satan that Epstein goes free. This is what it's all about right now. It's fucking ridiculous, you guys. What should I do? Should I put on my Raspberry Pi? It's late. We've watched a lot of videos. I get it. We did awesome today. Way longer than I thought we were gonna. I thought we would have switched to games a while ago. But if I switch to games right now and I lose you all, I'm still going to stay here until 2 o'clock because I have to make this longer than last time. I have to make it to 2 on the dot. Last time I got till like 1:48. I was 12 minutes shy of 8 hours. Wait, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, 1 to 2. 9 hours. I was 12 minutes short of 9 hours. Today I'm going over 9 hours. I did say it was the all-nighter 2. I said it was bigger, better, longer. I have to deliver, and I'm here to deliver. So what? So what say you? Like ABL would say, more videos. Do you want to watch? Heather suggested a video. We didn't watch it. The reason being is it was just a dude talking, and I didn't think it was going to get over very well. If we didn't want to hear Alex Jones, I didn't know who this guy was. Oh, she sent it to me. She didn't drop it in the chat. Or should I put on video games? Let's hear what you guys have to say. Brian, thanks for staying late, because during the week, I can't get on till 11. I get it. And during the week, there's no chance of me streaming after 11. There's no chance of me streaming until 11, because when Jamie goes to bed, I gotta shut the shit down, which I agree. I can't be sitting here talking to all y'all like, yeah, with all the lights on, we're streaming, and she's fucking sleeping right next to me. That's pretty rude. And I'm not going to go somewhere else and not be close to the router and not have my video games. Did play my video on YouTube. Rami saying he sent me a video. Let's see. Where is it? Send me the link, Rami. Send me the link. Or drop it in the chat. I've been realizing Trump is our best bet, but how did he get so rich while going bankrupt so many times? He's either good or truly evil with the evil empire. He's a smart businessman. Here's the thing. He knew the system was broken, and he knew that there were people that were manipulating the system, the top-level people, to become even richer. He knew this because he was doing it. That's one of the things he's trying to put a stop to, is from stopping other people doing what he did, because the country was broken. He did milk bankruptcy, but he's a beast. Say what you want. Got a lot of money. Handled it the right way. I didn't know what it was. Just got it off Instagram. Yeah, it just seemed like some guy talking. Not that he's a bad person, but I mean, it's late. I don't know if I could do 20 minutes of a guy like me sitting in front of this. If someone's going to talk for... Not that... Because granted, Alex Jones was different. He has guests. He's showing things. He's been doing this every day for 20 years. He's kind of a beast at putting out content. By the way, just so you know, hell or high water, I'm making the promise now. To the best of my ability, I'm going to do this on election night. So I'm going to stream. If Alex Jones does what he did 4 years ago, which was be on all night live. I'm going to do that. I'm going to play Alex Jones live here with me, and that's how we're going to do it. Heather, I like Alex. He's the man. He's the only guy I'll watch on Instagram because everyone else, I believe, is lying. If Alex says it, then it's actually happening. They're not, like, trying to fucking pull the switcheroo, which is what I thought they were going to do last time. It's going to be like, Trump's winning, and Hillary, she stole it at the end. Like, it didn't happen, you know? And I don't think that's going to happen this time with old Sniffles Joe. Joe the Rock Biden. If you smell what the Joe's been smelling. Hey, Rami. I got something for you. You sent me that. Oh my God. I will play it though. I like it. Rami put a few videos on and one is funny. Brian Gregg, this is your calling. You should have started this earlier. I want to join you on a stream when I come up. Come on the right night, my friend. Come on a weekend when Jamie's not here and it's just me and you're going to crash. Or leave really late, however the fuck you want to do it. I'm not telling you have to stay here. But if you're going to go somewhere else, it's an hour drive. I'm not against it. We could do that. You always had the voice and knowledge for this. I was on the radio many moons ago in Rhode Island on 90.3 WRIU. I did a radio show based off of the Insane Clown Posse and their subculture. And I was the person who made that show exciting, for the record. The guy I did it with, great guy. Great guy. Just recently started making communication with him again. Not going to talk shit. Liberal as fuck, but I don't hate the human being. That is the person. We definitely had some strong disagreements earlier. However, he's a goof, but he's a good kid. But yeah, we did a radio show for like 2 years plus maybe. So it was very interesting. But you should have seen me at those times. I was very young and very different than I am now. I was like 20, 21, 19 maybe doing this. We had a friend who worked at URI. He did. And he comes up to me one day and he's like, hey, remember Kung Fu Quinn? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, she's in charge of URI radio at 90.3 WRIU. And she thinks she can get us a radio show. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, would you do it with me if we can get a time slot? And I'm like, yeah, thinking we'll never get a time slot. 2 days later, he's like, bro, we got a time slot. Sunday night at 3 a.m., Monday morning. We're going to do it. So, bro, I was literally doing this and then getting dropped off at school. Like, I was, like, driving home, like, the first year of doing this, the first little while. I was staying up all night, coming back, and then getting dropped off, and then, in some cases, going to school. I don't think I was, though, in hindsight now. I think I would just say fuck school on those days. But it was like that. I'm sleeping over in a one-man sleeping bag with you. You need the cuddles. I miss you, bro. Jay, I love it. We'll have a good time. We'll have a good time. We'll talk on stream. We'll have a guest in the house. We'll do some different shit. It's only going to be good. It's only going to work well. What we'll do when you get here, Jay, is we'll hook the TV up. So when we're watching a video, we'll have it coming out of the TV. And then there won't be the weird echo, and I can maximize the volume for everybody else. But I didn't do that tonight. I kept it small so we can kind of try to focus our energy, which is what I wanted to do. But let me take a look here. Let me go ahead and grab Rami's videos. That's the story of how I got my hands on a radio show, though. Real talk. It's where, well, actually, no. The Juice handle came from Backyard Wrestling when I was 16 years old. That's where Juice came from. I was like, hey, I need a name. And I was like, how about the Juice Man? And then that turned into Juice. Oh. Another one. Oh, all right. I like that one, Rami, but we're going to play this one first. Because I'm a sick fuck.
No doubt that Bill Gates has worn many hats on his remarkable journey from his early life.
Ready for this?
Oh no. Did your game just get interrupted by an update? It's switching time to a Chromebook that updates automatically. Switch to updates without interruption. Switch to Chromebook.
No,
what's hot in here?
Everybody loves me.
Americans, you need starters, spark plugs, ball joints, gaskets, camshafts, U-joints, or rocker arms. Anything that can be screwed or glued to that car or truck of yours. Come see O'Ray.
Come see O'Ray.
You want a guarantee? I got a guarantee stamped on every box.
He's got really weird hair.
But more important is the guarantee that I make to the American worker. I want your truck to help you get the job done. I want your cruiser to get out there safely so you can clean up the streets. And I want your kids to be safe when you take them for a ride.
Thanks, Ray.
When you take them for a ride.
The name's Zelinsky. I make car parts for
the American working man. Because that's who I am, and that's who I care about. I wish I knew all the words to that. I would say it perfectly all the time because people seem to be entertained by my Dan Aykroyd. Love it. Fuck OJ. Oh, I miss Chris. I'm assuming Chris is your man. That's unfortunate that he's not there with you. I'm hoping everything is okay with him. That's BG's real dad. I love my dad, but you never know. My mom was a wild child. They did raise me on Ghostbusters and Saturday Night Live, so it's completely possible. Rami goes, do the impression. I was doing it to the thing. Anything you want, screwed or glued to that truck of yours, come see old Ray. Whether it's camshafts or rocker arms, we want your family to be safe when you take them for a ride. All right, ready for this? This was also provided by Rami. Let's see how interesting it is.
Are you over 25?
No, Chris Farley, I agree.
Driving record? No DUIs.
I miss Chris Farley as well. I think we all do.
To as low as honestly, $19 a month. How? It's
not for nothing, but that song that Adam Sandler made on some real shit, that song was awesome. You know what I mean? That song was so fucking cool, and it was hard to not get emotional listening to that song. Bravo to Adam Sandler for making a fucking banger.
A bombshell new report by ESPN alleges that NBA training facilities in China were witness to abuse of Chinese players by their coaches. League officials heard complaints from American coaches that Chinese coaches at the facility were physically abusing young players and denying them the education that they were promised. One employee described the situation as, quote, World War II Germany. Another former coach described watching a Chinese coach fire a ball into a young player's face at point-blank range and then kick him in the gut. Another said we're basically working for the Chinese government. So far, no comment from LeBron James, one of the most outspoken athletes on social justice issues, and that has not gone unnoticed on social media where people are asking what his thoughts are. But the NBA, which has been scrambling to justify their deep business alliances in China, where they make upwards of $500 million a year, now says that it is reevaluating and considering other opportunities for the Academy program, as is typical forward social justice posture appears to fall short where China is involved. Joining me now, Senator Tom Cotton, a member of the Armed Services Committee and Intelligence Committee. Good to have you with us, Senator. Thank you for being here today. So, you know, this is an uncomfortable story that ESPN has put out there for the NBA, especially given their stance on other credible issues of social justice in this country.
It is, Martha. It's a very disturbing report. As one of the employees said, these were basically sweatshops for young Chinese kids, and the NBA employees saw the worst kinds of child abuse. And as you referenced, they even had one of these camps in northwestern China, where China is running re-education gulags for a religious minority. And they likened it to Nazi Germany in World War II. I understand the NBA has deep financial ties to China, but you have to ask at some point, what's wrong with the NBA? I mean, how many crimes will they turn a blind eye to, whether it's child abuse or ethnic cleansing or cracking down on Hong Kong? I mean, for those of us who grew up watching the epic battles of Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and then watched them put on the red, white, and blue for the Dream Team in 1992, the NBA stance right now is very disappointing.
You know, I mean, when you think about a communist society and athletics, I think about, you know, the Soviet Union, the issues that they've had with doping and, you know, pushing athletes hard. I think about the East Germans in the Olympics when I was growing up. I mean, it's not that surprising that this is a culture that is, you know, connected between athletics and a communist regime that, you know, wants results more than anything else. So should this be a big surprise?
Yeah, and Martha, the Chinese people love the NBA, and that's one of the reasons why it's so disappointing to see the NBA and its stars like LeBron James or Steve Kerr not take a stronger stance. I mean, the NBA is probably unique among American businesses in the leverage it has over the Chinese Communist Party. You know, they're not like our farmers or our oil producers whose products can be bought from other countries. There is only one NBA, and hundreds of millions of Chinese are rabid fans. The NBA could take a strong stance here and call the Chinese Communist Party's bluff and ask them to stop these horrific practices. Yet, unfortunately, too many of its stars and executives seem to be more concerned about making a few more bucks in a communist country than standing up for basic human liberty and dignity.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, because the whole sort of Chinese experiment with opening up China under Nixon was that the more light that you shine into a situation and you sort of bring that country into economic deals and shine light into the practices that country is carrying out, that it makes it more difficult for them to do things along these lines, and that it makes the people there want a more democratic government. It appears that that is an experiment that is more and more looking like it did not work.
Unfortunately, that's the case. You know, we were sold on engagement for 20 or 30 years from politicians in both parties that if we just opened up to China and we sent our factories and sent our jobs there, if we didn't look at all of their misdeeds in terms of stealing our intellectual property or mistreating the companies that were working there, mistreating their own people as well, that capitalism would ultimately change China. Unfortunately, China is changing capitalism, and not only in China, as we see from the NBA's behavior. Now, the NBA portrays itself as the most politically and socially progressive of
popular athletes are brought into a
satanic
wear
world. Slogans on your jerseys. That
same as Hollywood. To an extent, I think I agree. Not all of them. UFC's not guilty.
Arms behind the Houston Rockets general manager last fall.
Absolutely. Who had the gall to tweet "Free Hong Kong," and the wrath was turned on him like we haven't seen. This is likely. I think China's likely to be the largest issue. You know, when we get past COVID, and I believe we will eventually.
Just marketing and profiting it. Profit engineering. Yes, Heather. Damn, it's crazy shit.
One of the biggest issues of whoever is president for the next 4 years on their plate. Do you agree?
I agree absolutely, Martha. Not only did China unleash this plague on the world, but they've been taking our jobs and our factories for decades.
Yeah.
They've been intimidating our companies and transferring technology or just stealing it when they can't. They've got spies running all around our campuses and our elite laboratories and businesses. We have to take a stand against China.
Yeah, I think the game is changing, and you've been on this for a very long time. Senator Tom Cotton, good to see you. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Look at this. Friday No Punches, Part 2. Part 1 doesn't exist. Pulled off of YouTube also. Look at this shit. Oh no, No Punches pulled. This is Part 1. They didn't take me down. Only Facebook. Alright, it's almost 3 in the morning now, guys. We're about to get silly. You guys want to see me in music videos? I know you do. I hope they're not taken down. Here it is. I don't know if you guys are fans of wrestling. Who's on here? Jake the Snake Roberts, old school. Well, you're about to watch me in my friend's music video. It was pretty dope. Fun experience. Definitely was.
A bombshell new report by ESPN alleges that NBA training facilities in China.
I'm addicted to money, fame, my ego, power.
All right, this is long before Donald Trump, and this is everything on this album is totally relevant to everything that we talk about. I just want to explain what this is, okay? My friend Ashley, known at the time as Little V, now known as Ashley V. Ashtar. I don't think she's embarrassed by this, but it's certainly not her business. You would not know that she was a hip-hop artist who did music like this. But she made an album, and this album was called Heel Turn, okay? And before I play this, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm looking at comments. It's almost 2. Oh, yeah, I said it's almost 3. UFC can earn everything for the most part. You don't see UFC stars going out, getting strippers, getting wasted, and perform unless it's Bones Jones. Very cool. Very true. Ashley is cool. Yes, Jay knows Ashley. Ashley is good people. But listen. So, Ashley decided and she was going to make an album called Heel Turn, which is a great thing. And she was going to do every song on the album to beats that were made from wrestlers' entrance music. So her beat guy was going to take a wrestler's entrance music and then cut the actual song, use the actual song itself to create a beat, okay? And when I was talking to her about it, I was like, and this is crazy, this really happened and this album exists and I can play all the songs for you because they're all available on the internet. The only thing that's not on the internet is our skits that we did, but I have a disc in the car and I could get it and play it for you on another day. But, so I was like, Ashley, I got an idea. What if Heel Turn, Ashley went to WrestleMania with us, right? Yes, 100%. That was Ashley. Ashley's good people. And, I was like, Ashley, what if with Heel Turn, what if you told a story where you became the chosen one and they like built you up to the people through the media, but you had to sell your soul and you had to do all these terrible things. But then when you became the president, after the people loved you and they trust you and they voted you in, that you turned on them in your presidential inauguration and you told the people the truth and you basically unlocked everybody and you turned against them after they built you. And we were like, oh my God, this is a great idea. So we talked about it for weeks and weeks. We got all the beats. We did everything like that. I did all the skits with her on the album. I played the quote unquote, it was a Vince McMahon voice, but it had some voice alterations on it. And it was really just me being like the evil representation. She's woke and now she's a professional spiritual advisor. Yes, that is correct. That's why I'm saying if you knew her now, you wouldn't think she was the hip-hop artist. But this song right here is called Message of Mass Deception, and it's about the media. And this was made in like 2014. Again, we've been this way for a very long time. Me, Ashley, Steve, who was in here with us tonight. We have been the exact same way. Nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed is Trump is there to fight against these bad people now. I'm going to play this video. I haven't seen it myself in a while. Dope song, by the way.
I'm addicted to money, fame, my ego, power, and corruption. Do you trust me?
This is before she turned. She was still bad at this point.
In your eyes, I am a legend. Am a legend. Am a legend. In your eyes, I am a legend. My politics are hollow tricks. You follow this because you're out of it. You're out of it. You're out of it. You're out of it. What's wrong with you? I entertain and I rearrange. I am the snake that takes the fame. Takes the fame. Takes the fame. Don't look at me.
She was beating my ass.
Do you trust me? Yes, you do. I bring you images that make you who you are. Who you are. You don't even know who you are.
This is the message of mass deception. The mass media is a lethal weapon.
No
protection once you step in.
No protection once your head's in. We bring consumption to keep you restless, to keep you tempted, to keep you tempted. You need this, you need shit. You're a bitch, you're my bitch. Who are you? A consumer brand. America the free is a
yes, I put Cheetos in a Big Mac and I ate it.
Corporate land.
And I smashed Cheetos on my chest.
You stand. You live through the mask in my reflection. My ideologies bring infection. Bring infection. You're demented. Your brain's not right. You're on a head trip. Follow me and you live through
I have Cheetos
I bring
all
you
over.
Truth and tranquility. I bring you truth and tranquility. Your freedom's dead. No
they're in my hair.
Know the laws
I
you must obey. To question V, it's not okay. It's not okay. You can't do that. Obey and rap. You can't do that. This is a message of mass deception. The mass media is a lethal weapon. No protection. Once you step in, no protection. Once your head's in, brain consumption to keep you restless.
I wasn't that. Hey, all muscle, Jay. All muscle.
You need this. You need shit. You're a bitch. You're my bitch. I am drugs. You need drugs. We all need drugs. It's like a hug. Like a hug. Like a hug. We all need drugs. It keeps you snug. What's religion? It's a way of life. Technology is God. Keeps living right. Living right. Living right. Technology is God. It's the way of life. Who am I? I'm better than you. I wear the suit and I make the rules. Stupid fools. Stupid fools. I wear the suit and I make the rules. Think negative and never mind change. I know the secret to make my way. The almighty dollar and God you trust. Keep you straight. It's just a must. This is a message of mass deception. The mass media is a lethal weapon. No protection. Once you step in, no protection. Once your head's in, brain consumption to keep you restless, to keep you tempted, to keep you tempted. You need this. You need shit. You're a bitch. You're my bitch.
There are other videos, though, that are gone forever. Unfortunately. Yeah. Some videos that are great that I was in, mostly HLR, is gone, never to be seen again. Unless she shares the link with me and allows me to play it one night. And I would probably get one viewing. I don't think I'm going to get too many chances.
Truth or dare?
But yeah, we made some cool
What's in your
songs.
toothpaste?
She did an amazing job on that album, but I mean, we talked about literally everything that's going on right now. You know, child sex slaves, pedophile rings. This COVID's a huge distraction from the real evils, especially with this underground pedophile ring. Yes, love the song and vid, you fat fuck. Looking better than ever. Play this, Rami. Let's see it. I have no idea. Just so you know, though, this is not a Trump thing. We have always hated the media with a passion. They are evil, and I tell you this, the worst thing that could ever happen to my relationship with Donald Trump is if the media started praising him. You would watch how fast
he has a fight coming up with Jorge. How do you see that fight going?
Oh, you said his name backwards. You said it wrong. It's Ben Ass Cream.
Is that really it?
Yeah, that's the 37-year-old Napoleon Dynamite-looking virgin. That's the one who used science and test tubes these days to get kids, because he's a virgin still.
But he has kids.
Yeah, exactly, science.
So let me ask you this. You know, you're coming at me hard, I'm going to come at you hard. You're standing there with that shiny belt on your shoulder. Do you actually consider yourself the welterweight champion of the world? Because I'm pretty sure Tyron Woodley actually lays claim to that.
Nah, he doesn't lay claim to nothing, man. This is my belt. I'm an undisputed champ. Tyron Woodley, he's been hiding, man. We were supposed to fight, Bisping. Whether you want to say it, look at the facts. UFC offered him the fight last December. He's hiding. He's been ducking everybody in the division. He doesn't want to fight. I'm here to make the division great again. And you know what I'm going to do by making the division great again? I'm going to the White House. I'm putting this on Donald Trump's desk.
Do you have the invite to go to the White House? Or is that just another, figment of your imagination?
He did go to the White House. Real talk. Donald Trump owns that belt.
The only figment of my imagination is you must not be seeing right with that one eye.
Well, you have to admit, though, Kamaru, like those tuxedos that he's been wearing, those are sweet.
I don't really
right?
like Colby Covington,
that's
you
a
guys.
Nice looking suit.
Raised back. Hey, I like it. It actually makes sense that they hate Trump. You have to read the media backwards like the Satanists do. Yes, that's the point.
Like the one with the flower? I mean, I got it. Like, those
that's
are
exactly
nice.
what I do. The media tells me don't look at something. I know I have to see it.
No props.
The media tells me you need to do this. I immediately do the
opposite. Nicole
opposite.
Pennington on Saturday. She said that she didn't really enjoy the experience being next to you at the press conference. I don't know if you saw those comments.
Yeah, I mean, but why did she not enjoy the experience? Did she not enjoy it because of my words, or did she not do it because her wife used to sweat me at American Top Team? There's a reason Tisha Torres left American Top Team, Mario. She used to sweat me. She was all googly-eyed over me. Honestly, I'm pretty sure Ricky Pendleton
everything is
walked in
upside
on
down.
Tisha,
Yes, JG,
and she was
it
sweating
absolutely
me from
is.
Instagram.
I'm
and now
cutting
she's mad at
Colby.
me. I mean, I mean, look at this. Twisted Steel and American Sex Appeal, baby. I mean, like, what do you want me to say? Like, I can't.
Benjamin Hoadley has liked the stream. Thank you very much, Ben. I appreciate it, bud.
Get out of here, man. I'm not dealing with you, Tisha.
Are you liking Colby? We'll leave him on.
Career advice? Did he give you any sort of parting words that are going to stay with you forever as you enter this next chapter in your life?
Yeah, he told me to keep melting those CNN fake news soy boys.
Stop it. He didn't say that.
Yes, he did.
The palms, and I'm waiting in the buffet line, Ariel. I'm just trying to get some crab legs. Can the man get some crab legs? Can the man, the champ, get some crab legs in peace? And all of a sudden, low energy Marty comes, that terrorist rat Ali comes, and some other Sasquatch, and then they start pushing and swinging and putting innocent kids' lives in danger, and a pregnant lady. You know, there's a pregnant lady. She's screaming, "I'm pregnant! Stop this!" And Ali's still pushing, trying to make a scene. Usman's still trying to scream at me, "Oh, I'm going to get you." And his little Sasquatch is like throwing punches at my friend and is trying to punch me. And I mean, it's a complete joke, you know. I can't believe that, you know, they allow that in Vegas, and just a bunch of filthy animals.
Let me ask you a question. What is it about Kamaru's game that makes you think you can beat him?
He sucks. Where's he good? He's not good. Hey, he beat my sloppy seconds after I already beat him. He beat guys that were left for dead. Rafael Dos Anjos, Damian Maya. I left them for dead. He came and picked up the scraps after me. He's a joke. He's nobody. He's following in my footsteps. If I make a sandwich tomorrow, he's going to try and make the sandwich the same way.
Kamaru.
All right, listen, you guys. Colby's gone. All right, guys. I am going to throw this out there. So I just showed you the video with Little V. People are leaving, but I'm trying to entertain who's here. I have never showed this to anybody. This has never had a public viewing. This will be public. I was Ashley's hype man for a period of time, and saved on my YouTube from 8 years ago is the first show that I did with her. Do you guys want to see the first live show that I did with Ashley on stage being her hype man? Good, because I'm about to put it on and we're going to watch some of it. I can't guarantee you we're going to watch it all, but we'll watch some of it. We did some cool stuff. I haven't watched this in years. I hope she doesn't kill me for doing this. I feel like she might. No. We are not playing that video. That is the wrong video, people. The video I'm talking about is much longer. But it is a very interesting video. And I don't even have it here anymore. It's not here. It was a long video, and it was us performing, and it's gone. Do you guys want to see what happens when my dog ate too many pot cookies? I mean, I have some silly shit here. I have when me and Ashley made... Oh, wait, here we go. This is what I need to do. Hold on, you guys. Ready for this? I'll bring you guys along on the ride. These are all videos I need to label and upload. How many videos per page? Try 50, baby. I have a lot of videos here. This is a Brian Kendrick shoot interview talking about reptilian aliens. Is this it? April 13th. I think this is it. This isn't the first performance, I think, because the first... Oh, April 6th. Yes, it was. So I was going to say the first performance was on my birthday, and I know this because I was pissed that I couldn't drink. I was very upset about it. Let's see what else is here. Let's see if we can find the video from when me and Ashley got our radio show, our audition that we made, which was phenomenal. Or we can find my dog being... There we go, this video. But first, let's look. If you guys are in, You're here to watch. I like it. You ready for this? I feel like she might kill me.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is me.
Making her way onto the stage, standing at a towering 5 feet 1 inches tall, tipping the scales at 105 pounds, hailing from the 401.
She's a tiny chick.
Reptilian alien's worst nightmare. Presenting the intergalactic heavyweight champion of the world, Little B!
God, this is gonna kill me. Thank God this is buried at the end of like a 3-hour video. I just want to play the first song because it's Bilderberg, Bilderberg. She's literally just making songs about the Bilderberg group.
I drop the white flag, won't give up till I'm dead. Give me respect or I'll shit on you. Give me a leg or I'll take it from you. Now K is for suckers and I'm just a lover. If you can't handle that, it's cause I'm a bum. Yeah, if I can't handle me,
yeah, it's definitely me.
You're nothing very special, just shit in my food. You shit in my food, now that ain't right. Living with you is like living with death. I'd rather rule Michael Jason Freddy out there. I bet behind the scenes that you're nothing but hype. Taking over my words, I'm nothing but fight. Revolution's not now, my words is a defeat. From all the blood and all the warriors touch me. Shoot in the nerves of the Richie's eyes. You speak with nothing, your souls are the prize. But you know me, and you know my kind. My words are like nothing, you feel it inside. You feel it inside, you feel it inside. Bilderberg, Bilderberg, why you so black? Bilderberg, Bilderberg, yeah, you smoke crack. Bilderberg, Bilderberg, why you smoke shit?
Wait, ready? We're not gonna listen to whole songs. We're gonna patch through this. Ted DiBiase. Listen, it's Ted DiBiase.
Make some noise! What's up? What's that? Still from the floor, it gets to the place when I'm all the way around you. I never made shit. Saved our children, I guess we did. Come on, when you go, when you want me and red. And you don't win, thanks for the money. Never gonna do this and again, I'm like honey on top of the world. I'm gonna get some diamond. Like the lid, and I am a spirit. Shit, there's no good. What's the underground with MTV?
All right, if I play any more than this, I feel like I'm responsible for her wanting to cut my head off. But it just goes to show that for so many years of my life, my entire adult life has been focused on what the fuck can I do to tell people about what the fuck is going on in the world. This is fucking me, and a handful of my friends have been obsessed with this concept of what the fuck can we do to give people this information and tell them that this shit is going on. And even all these years ago, back in 2014, when we were telling people this shit and we were doing this album, this was years and years after the shit started. Again, we're like, oh, wrestling album. And then they listen to it and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And now, I mean, everything that we were fucking talking about, like the Undertaker song is all about the fucking satanic sacrifices and the fucking pedophilia. And it's to the Undertaker's music. Like, it's dope. Jake the Snake was Message of Mass Deception. Hogan was right after she turned heel, and it goes into the Hogan song about fucking being a real American. But, like, it's dope. Like, the album was dope. It was ahead of its time. And technically, Donald Trump did what she did in that album, which was amazing. Because Donald Trump basically did a heel turn on the elite. He was a member of the elite, a member of the ruling class, and he turned against them, and he's exposing their secrets. She was woke a long time ago, yes. Good night. I'm falling asleep. Heather, I'm glad we were able to cradle you and nurture you into bed. You have a good night. Sleep well. But yes, I mean, this is shit. And again, in 2014, everybody was like, you're fucking crazy. And now here we are, 2011, 2012, whenever the fuck, it was actually 2011. It wasn't even 2014, it was 2011. I remember this because the night of CM Punk at Money in the Bank 2011, we were actually at one of her shows. My friend Tony, who's now a referee in the business, he had ordered the pay-per-view on DVR, had it saved. So we were at her show. She did her show. And then literally she got on stage. She did one song. And she was like, yo, CM Punk's wrestling John Cena for the title tonight of Money in the Bank. Who's on that? Everyone was like, yeah. It's like, so I gotta fucking finish this shit because we gotta get the fuck out of here and get home. She did 2 more songs real quick and we left. It was fucking dope. But yes, it was a good night. And this was in 2011. And we were crazy then. And we were crazy in 2008. And we were crazy in 2004. And we were crazy in 2003. In 2002. And now here we are in 2020, and I stopped being crazy so much. I go on Facebook, and every single day, it's no longer just me talking about satanic pedophiles. I now scroll through a feed of people talking about satanic pedophiles. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Satanic pedophiles everywhere I go. And it was like, when I was talking about satanic pedophiles, y'all said I was fucking crazy. You know? Just because I talk about a fucking race of lizard people that live underneath the crust of the earth, you know, all of a sudden people stop taking you seriously. I get it. And I'm not saying there's lizard people right now, but what I am saying is it's not impossible. It's not impossible. And if you think it's impossible, you're selling yourself short. Nothing is impossible. Ralph Bruno and his little lefty fucking, the only crazy people believe in conspiracies guy. That's the most closed-minded guy. He's like, hey, listen, obviously the government's not lying to you. You're an idiot if you believe this. There's another explanation. Just because there's another explanation that doesn't involve our government being tremendously evil doesn't mean our government's not tremendously evil. And not even our government, because again, it's bad actors in the government, like we were saying earlier, which is the truth. It's not all of the government. It's very easy to say that. Oh my God, Slime 401. Why are you not in the middle of the screen? Donated $3. My boy is a beast. Ryan Pitts, thank you so much. By far, the biggest contributor to You Rock My Socks. I thank you so much and I appreciate it, my friend. Because all of this enables me to further invest into this stream for technology and different things to fucking improve this. So 1 year from today, when I go live, it looks like I'm in a fucking professional studio. It's 2 o'clock and y'all are bailing. Y'all are bailing. Pitch, you still in the room? What's good? Did you make a donation and go to bed, my friend? Are you still up? Heather's going to sleep. I feel like I see 2 viewers. I feel like it's you and Jay Jakes. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. All right, don't tell me I'm wrong. If anyone else other than Pitts or Jay Jakes makes a comment, I was wrong. But with that being said, you guys, let's play one more video. Let's play one more video. You want to see this? You want to see this crazy fucking video? This is the stupidest video ever. I can't even believe I'm about to play this for you guys. This is just the end of my... This is how you know it's at the end of the night. I'm planning on the, seeing that this stream got deleted. Because I played Alex Jones for 2.5 hours. So this isn't going to survive forever. But this video is called PCP Killed Me. I'll explain why. Hold on, ready? There was a video by Steve-O. It's probably still there if you look for it on YouTube. Called PCP Saved My Life. So this was made on my PlayStation with my PlayStation camera in a matter of like 5 minutes just to prove that I could make a video and post it on YouTube. I had to prove it to myself. And I made this video. And this will be the only time I ever show this. So I hope you're watching. The 2 people that are watching this, you are in for a treat, a ridiculous treat. This is my friend Nino, and he would probably kill me for showing this. Such a different person now.
Those cards. That's what it looks like when you go back. Who's those pictures, right?
It's my buddy John. Look at. And then. That was a surprise, my friends. A ridiculous moment to end our stream with. Again, young people doing silly things. This video was made, I'm going to say well over 10 years ago. A little bit over 10 years ago. Almost 11. In November, by the time Trump is reelected, it will have been 11 years. I made that video. So insane. But with that being said, folks, now that I've played, and I say I won't play this video, it's public. Oh, it's private. It is, in fact, private. What else is here unlisted? Oh, yeah, the audition. That's me and Ashley auditioning for a radio show that we got. There used to be a basketball player on the Boston Celtics. His name is Chris Herron. His brother, Mike Herron, decided to run an internet radio station called hurricaneradio.net. That is what all these are for. They're advertisements for our show on hurricaneradio.net because we made this video and we basically were like, this is your opportunity. This isn't our audition. This is your audition. We're telling you that we'll do a radio show for you. He had us come in and make 3 guest spots. It was in Fall River. We basically took over people's radio shows 2 or 3 different times. We were supposed to be on for 1 segment. We stayed on for the whole show. We were extremely entertaining. I got to do 1 live show, me and Ashley. We talked about conspiracy theories. We talked about fucking aliens. And this guy absolutely fucking hated us. Oh, wait, you weren't even looking at this. This guy absolutely fucking hated us. And he was like, he talked shit about me the whole time I was on the air. And basically tried to punk me and treat me like a bitch. But when we all left the radio show that night, me, her, and my friend Tony, we mutually decided we were never going back because he was a piece of shit, and we didn't. But we did 1 episode of what we called The Danger Zone. Ooh, you're entering the danger zone. And, yeah, we basically got harassed off the radio. I wasn't going to be treated like a piece of shit to do something that it was fucking already a hassle to do. Like, he was lucky I was doing his fucking radio show. But yeah, guys, that's my night. We had a good time. It's 2:21. I went over 9 hours, almost 9.5, with a couple hiccups in the middle. It was a fucking great night. A lot of streaming. Huge success. A lot of information. I learned some stuff. I don't know if you guys did, but I certainly did. And with that being said, I'm getting off. I'm out. Be safe. I had a blast. I probably won't stream another day this weekend because this took a lot out of me and I want time for my fucking brain to recuperate. But I appreciated everyone being here with me all night. It was a blast. The All-Nighter 2 was bigger, better, and longer than last time. Little more pedophiles last time. A little more stuff that's going to get me permanently kicked off of Facebook this time. But I know you guys all subscribed. Anyone who watches this in the future. If you're watching this and it's not live, Jesus Christ, I can't fucking believe that you're watching this and it's not live. Because this was a long-ass video, if you're here seeing this. But with that being said, boys and girls, I appreciate you being here. Stay safe. Keep your eyes open. Keep those